Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on the forum.
This is Parker, go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan MD on forums.
This is Jeremy. On the forums, you can find me under hashtag Tim is not good at webwares and never has been, / you heard me. Exclamation point.
Hashtag Crutch Faction, hashtag not good.
How'd you know that? Yeah, you saw it.
All right, cool. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you guys have had a good week. Quick announcements. First of all, Parker has 621.25 remaining probationary episodes.
Yep, that's what I have here. Yes.
If you're joining us for the first time, because we just got big, we broke the bank, we're officially celebrities. The reason Parker has these is because he does things like fall asleep during the podcast repeatedly. So once he stops doing stuff like that and then shows up on time, he'll stop having these probationary episodes.
Does it count? Does it count if your children cause that or your job? Are you like incepted? Is that the problem?
No.
Incepted?
No, it's just 100% because he doesn't care. It's the lack of work effort that's really the problem. All right, so Parker, I'll tell you what. I will give you an opportunity later in the podcast to work off some more of these. How about that?
I thought the point was that I show up for 621 of these things in a row. Well, 621.25 in a row. That was the idea. There's ways to eliminate these things?
Yeah, I'm going to give you opportunities moving forward.
Okay.
You can, well, let's say we could wager probationary episodes.
I'm not shaving my head.
This sounds like a trap, Parker.
Damn
Sounds like a trap.
I'm going to go ahead and just take my probation. No deal, Howie.
No deal.
All right, Parker. No shaving the head.
Okay.
It's off the table.
Oh, okay.
However, for each lock of hair you allow me to clip off of your head, I will remove one episode.
Let's just take a moment to remind...
You have at least 100 episodes worth on your head.
Let's remind dear listeners for a moment that I did acquire a certain number of probationary episodes by saying the name of a certain Dhampir character because you decided to arbitrarily make it illegal for me to say that. By the way, also listeners, in my actual life, if I'm ever around Jeremy, I have to refer to any sort of knife object that has a sharp edge by something other than the word you would actually use to describe it. And
so, like, for example, you would never hand somebody a knife blank first.
Yeah, blank first.
You would always hand it to them.
Well, hold on.
First.
Can't you say it? Why are you?
I can, but I'm going to try and double fake you.
I would love to go back to the episode where that happened first. I think you just said you can't say that word, and for some reason I just said, well, that makes sense. And I just have gone with it.
I didn't say you can't say blade.
Yeah.
Allison Brie said you can't say blade. It's the rule.
Allison Brie?
Yeah. On Community?
I know, I believe. I love Allison Brie. But what on Community? That was a rule?
Yeah. It was a skit they did because Britta was dating somebody from the carnival named Blade.
Oh my gosh.
And so
I don't
they,
remember this joke.
in an attempt to keep her from, quote, jumping him like a hyena, she went over to Troy and Abed's apartment with guy, I forget her character's name.
That's
now.
Right. Yes. Oh shoot.
I want to say Amy, but I know it's not
Annie.
Amy.
Annie is her character's name.
Annie. Yeah, Annie. So I go over there and Annie's watching her, and so Annie has her phone.
Yeah.
So she can't text this guy to meet up with him.
Yeah.
And because she's trying to turn over a new leaf and not date trashy guys.
That's right.
And so, of course, Troy and Abed decide to watch the movie Blade and discuss the intricacies of his blades and how they have multiple types of blades within the blades. And so Annie turns, he's like, we have to stop saying blade. And he's like, oh, fine.
That I did not realize.
They literally ruined the movie.
I did not realize that was a Community reference, and now I feel a lot better about the prohibition. I thought it was just arbitrary and capricious, but I like it.
If it makes you feel better, you can think of it as a Rick and Morty reference.
Yeah, that doesn't make me feel better. It actually makes me feel better that it's a Community reference.
Okay.
But...
All right. So anyway, back on topic. So currently Parker's down to 621.25. I have one other important announcement for our longtime listeners. You know that the only announcements we usually do are that Parker is still a terrible person, and more importantly, a worse podcast member. But today we have a brand new announcement that I want everybody to know. we have a brand new, for the first time, official mascot of the show.
Ooh.
His name is Tim Simpson.
Mascot.
Tim Simpson from St. Louis is our official mascot.
Yay.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about him, I mean, I've known him for a little bit, but I do know he is terrible at Web Warriors.
I don't know much, but what I do know.
The only thing I know about Tim is that he pushed your shit in like you didn't even know.
Shut the fuck up! We're not talking about that.
We don't talk about that.
That was a long time ago. That was like a million years ago.
That was
I'm a different
an
person,
entire
Brandon.
2 weeks ago.
I'm a different person.
I like to picture my Tim Simpson like a small kid who's like comes in and you're like, this kid can't. This guy,
6 pounds,
this
3
kid,
ounces.
yeah, this kid
doesn't
can't
even
play
know a
ball.
word yet.
This kid can't play ball. Look at this kid. He can't play. And I like to picture my Jeremy like some tall punk. He's like, I'm gonna school this kid. And then my Tim Simpson in my mind like straight up dunks on him, and everybody's like, oh, rolling around.
I've been beat much worse than that. So just shut the fuck up. Just everyone calm down.
Oh, that's right. You played Richard later.
That's right.
You fucking walked right into that one.
You did.
That's not even on me. That's on you.
I'm gonna take my ball and go home.
And then there was 2.
Yep. And that was all.
God.
I would like to, anyone who's recently joining the cast, I don't know if you are aware, but there is a new secret word that we have yet to uncover that Parker is also not allowed to say.
Yep.
And if he says it, he will get 10 probationary episodes for the first saying, and then 1 for each repeated saying, and we will have to invent a new secret word he's not allowed to say.
Mm-hmm.
You better not say it.
Basically,
Yeah,
it's no word chicken is what's going on basically.
Yeah, basically Parker can't talk,
God,
which is fine because he's asleep most of the time anyway.
Just be careful. Just be so careful.
All right. So we're going into Parker's only segment, other than the one segment he does other than this. So Parker, go ahead. Without further ado, stop laughing and do your segment.
Okay, go.
All right. News. All right, so news today is actually very, very slim. We think we know why the news is pretty much disappeared from this past week. We don't have any news, is because we think they're all being very, very quiet. They're hunting Wabbit, and the Wabbit is a big release they promised before the end of Thanksgiving. It is currently
the darkest, which is right before the dawn.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the DC universe, the dawn never happens because it's always too dark to see.
Right. On the road.
But anyway, I'm theorizing that I think all of the stuff that they've been talking about is going to become official on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
They hinted in the Black Order teaser segment they did on their announcements, or transmissions rather, that all of this should be legal by the end of the month instead of just being spoilers. So based on that logic, looking at the calendar, we've got exactly 2 weeks left in the month. I don't think they would drop it Thanksgiving or Black Friday, and so that basically leaves it at they have the 29th and the 30th, and then the 3 days next week before the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing Tuesday because a lot of their shit comes out on Tuesday. So I'm hypothesizing November 22nd that the new rule updates are going to become official and all the cards are going to be downloadable off their site for the new stuff. That's what I think.
I think it's a really fair assumption. Also, the fact that they just go quiet for a little while, the Crocodilian getting close, ready to strike, it's coming.
Yeah, it tends to happen right before a bunch of shit comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, who knows, that there's just going to be a lot more spoilers coming this week. I guess that's true. So how many things have we seen change so far? They said they were going to retouch the original 50, right?
Right. But hold on. I thought where did I read it? They said the new rules update, not like new cards, but the new rules update goes live before the end of Thanksgiving, right? Like that's what they said.
I don't remember reading that, but they did do a transmission about just the rules. Do you want to check that?
I don't. I think in that I'm pretty sure in that transmission they didn't mention it. So I must have read this. This must be hearsay. I read somewhere. Hearsay. I can look again, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so the original 50 models runs all the way through CP20. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's not true. Hold on.
Yeah.
It actually runs through CP28, which is conveniently Angela. However, they have updated characters from CP30, which is Bullseye. So clearly they meant further than that. In fact, it goes all the way down to CP34 for Medusa. But after that, I think we run out of stuff. Yeah, so I would imagine it's basically CP34 and backwards, which is Inhumans. Interesting. I don't know. So yeah, I think we're basically out of spoilers at this point, because anything that would have been still done would be well outside of that 50 model range they hinted that they were really looking at for updates. And so I think I'd be surprised if they updated anything past that. So yeah, I think we have most of the information, and I think it's going to drop soon, which is why we had no news this week.
Yeah, if they went back and did more spoilers, it would just fill in. They'd be filling in more characters in each faction if they got changed at all, which would, I don't think they would go back and go, remember we didn't talk about Thanos? Now we're going to talk about Thanos or whatever. I don't think that's likely.
Yeah.
But no, I can't find any mention in the transmissions officially of when
Did
they
you
said.
check the rules specific one?
Yes, that's the one I read.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not 100%, obviously. So, but I think that's probably what's going on. So anyway, so because there is no news, we're just hypothesizing. Let's get out of the news segment and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Hobby projects. I just assembled my Dormammu so I can play Dormammu tomorrow. Parker, have you done anything recently?
I got all the boxes, and I just realized right before the podcast that I had not assembled any of them yet. So if I want to play them, I'm going to do it pretty darn fast somehow before tomorrow. But I want to, so I'm going to.
Nice.
Jeremy,
have you done anything?
No, I'm in a kind of a vacuum of no gaming. Things have kind of slowed down after our trip to St. Louis and just taken a pause. I think I'll probably start again after Thanksgiving. I've just got tons of stuff going on.
Yeah, just busy.
Yep. It all hit me this
Alrighty.
month.
Cool. So moving on to playing currently. I want to play the new stuff.
New stuff. Womp, 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 womp.
What I have actually been playing recently has been a combination of Web Warriors and what I played at the Warfare Weekend tournament, which is my bullshit pile of Cabal and Elite models. I played Bobby 2 games in a row yesterday. So he's been trying out Criminals, and I had been playing Web Warriors because I wanted to play something that wasn't about to get dumpstered by the rules update. And also I just like Web Warriors. And so we were playing and I was soundly beating him like Web Warriors do, and then it was because it was kind of a non-interactive game for the most part. It's like he does stuff and most of the stuff he does doesn't matter because he can never get out of the hole he's in, and the game just kind of ends on turn 4. And so I was like, well, if you want, because you're playing Criminals, you're playing a scenario list, I can play my other list and you won't have to play into a just as good a scenario affiliation. He's like, yeah, let's try that. So we tried it, and he picked a 20-point mission, and I had priority. So I chose 20 points, and I did my Strange, Magneto, MODOK, Nebula list. And he killed Nebula, and then everybody else was basically full health, and I tabled him. It was not great. I dazed 3 people on the first turn.
Oh, I hate that.
He was under the impression that the alien ship power core was very important to find, which is not wrong, because if he does find it, the game dramatically changes. But we were playing Gamma Wave as the secure, so he couldn't really threaten winning it without getting past me, which is not an option. But yeah, it was pretty brutal. I kept priority while dazing 3 people, because obviously they had already activated. The next turn, I think I killed 2 of them before they got to go. It got real bad real fast. He basically ended up with MODOK and... So I dazed 3 people and Toad took 4 damage. I almost dazed 4 people on turn 1. and so the next turn I basically killed everybody but Kingpin and MODOK next turn, basically. And then it was Kingpin and MODOK versus Magneto, Strange, and MODOK. And so I played Magnetic Refraction, and I was rolling 8 dice with cover on Magneto, and it was very not fun.
I think you've given a pretty good example of why some of these changes are going to be helpful. That mess you did, lining up the 20 points with Gamma with that is pretty insane. Like that's a super list. Yeah,
I think that's definitely an unfun play experience if you're not prepared for it. But at the same time, it doesn't prevent it from happening. It just reduces the likelihood. But it also makes it to where it will actually happen more often in an actual intelligent matchup. Because Bobby didn't know what was happening, right? That's the problem. Like, we did it as a learning experience, so now he knows why you don't pick the 20-point mission in your selection. And this sounds like I was just like a negative play experience. I was crushing him for no reason. We talked about all this stuff as it was happening and at the end of the game. And so he absorbed a lot of this information for next time. Also, he's a Raiders fan, so fuck him. Moving on.
With extreme prejudice.
Now, if he's playing that same list and we agree that Alien Ship is a good mission for criminals, so it's in his pairing, this is exactly why I do not like the new rules change for missions, he has a 1 in 3 chance of flipping over Alien Ship. And if he knows he's playing against my list, he has a 0% chance of flipping over Alien Ship. The chances of him having to play this mission actually go up with the new rules change.
Right.
Because you would never, ever, ever, ever make this decision knowingly.
Yeah, but it wouldn't get played at 20. I mean, you would be able to. I mean, I guess if you both randomly chose 20 and then he decided, or
no, if he wins priority, I get to choose the points.
Yeah, if he wins priority.
Yeah, so if he wins priority and chooses red because he doesn't hate my blues, and then he flips over Alien Ship and I pick 20 points, he's still fucked.
I guess.
Like, that's the problem. It just becomes random.
Right.
Instead
It becomes
of informed.
If he
you
has,
can no longer combat it unless you remove the 20-point mission from your list. That's the problem.
Yeah,
well, I totally agree that some missions are abused by lists and they need to address it. I think this is a poor way to do it.
Well, the one thing that I think this would have been really impossible and I think it would be a really negative play. I think it would totally remove, like you said, some of the strategy from the game if there were only still like 8 or 9 missions, 10 missions or whatever as options. But there are enough missions now. I feel like you could say, well, I never want to play 20 points. I never want to give my opponent the ability to play 20 points ever. So I'm just not going to play. I'm not going to put it anywhere in here. But I think that's actually what's going to happen now. Instead of seeing like people playing a 14, a 17, and a 20, you'll just see no more than 17 absolute max. So you're trying to eliminate the possibility of your opponent drawing something that you know is going to put you at a disadvantage. I guess that's what's going to happen. I don't know.
My thought is that the meta will just immediately move to only 17-point basic missions that are like crazy, like none of the weird ones, like Research Station Attack is never going to get played because you can never risk running into a Smash Mouth list with it. And so the only time you'll play is when you think you have the Smash Mouth list, which means you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting it, which basically makes it irrelevant. Because you have to win priority to choose the color, because if your opponent's not asleep and they win priority, they'll choose that color, just so there's no chance you get it. And then if you do get that color, it's a 1 in 3 chance you pull it. So everyone's basically going to go like the 3 core set missions or very similar stuff, or if you're playing the absolute most extreme version of a SKU list, you'll play the missions good for that list. And so because of that, the meta will adjust and people will quit playing lists that prey on people that do those missions. And then people will open up their mission selection again, and then those lists will come back. And we'll just be in this ever-going flux of those scary nightmare lists come back, and then the missions go away, and then they retreat. Then they come back because the missions are back again because nobody was playing those lists. But with traveling and stuff, I don't know how that will get interactive.
Oh, I will say that's exactly what game designers want the most, is meta rotation. They do not want meta stagnation.
I don't think it's meta rotation. I think it's gotcha machine. Because there's no interactiveness.
What you just described as meta rotation.
I just described literally paper, rock, scissors. It's like, but you have there's no standard, right?
Yes, there is. You create a min and max. So if you can create a min and max, then you'll create what you said.
Like it's not like you're choosing something that, I don't know, how do I explain this? It's such a random coin flip if you play a specific person who understands the meta well enough to make that informed choice.
Okay.
And so if you go to an event, like say we travel to Warfare Weekend again next year, and these rules are in place as we expect them to be, and you're going to play 5 random people from all over the country, what are the odds that all 5 of them are on the same page about missions?
Right.
So because of that, it's not a meta. It's a random chance thing. Because they're not trying to adjust, like they're not trying to build a list to counter you. It's one choice within their lists, and they might just not like their meta might their local area might be in a part of the meta where the missions are very restrictive and nobody plays the crazy missions. And then another people in another pod, they might play all the missions because nobody plays the scary lists. And then you put all these people in a melting pot, and it just becomes coin flip machine. And every round is completely random chance on if you get blown out by somebody playing one of these crazy lists because you randomly brought the wrong types of missions. That seems super unfun to me.
Well, I think it is unfun if you aren't tactically flexible after mission select, right? That's why they're trying to give you more tactics slots for like tactics cards, and you're bringing 10 characters to the board. I think that's what they're trying to encourage, if anything, is that they do not want the mission select phase to be the most important phase of the game. So adding randomization means you have to be able to deal with more different kinds of missions, or you have to be able to play the same list in the different kinds of missions to know how to make the most advantage of whatever situation you get. I think they wanted it to be like a die roll. I think they wanted it to feel like that. And before, it felt like, okay, well, if I combined these 5 models that I can play in my 10, who gives a shit about the other 5? If I play these 5 models and I can guarantee these 2 missions, most of the time, then I just win almost every time, or I can guarantee more than 50% because of how strong I am with these 2 missions exactly. I'll just arrange it for myself. And they want it to be more of a, I have to plan on playing all 10 of my characters to do well at a tournament. I have to know how to engage all my characters in a certain scenario that I see on the board.
Yeah, I understand that want and desire. I just don't think this is the way to accomplish it. I think, for example, if we kept the exact same mission selection rules as we do now, but we increase the number of missions to either 4 or 5 of each color, I think this problem goes away. Because it's no longer you have gamma 60% of the time, you have gamma 40% of the time. And then you only get to pick blue 50% of the time. So it's a 1 in 5 chance for you to abuse said mission, but your opponent still gets an educated choice on what to do. So you can include these missions like Gamma Wave or Alien Ship or Sword Base without being locked into them at a random chance, at the worst possible moment being locked into these missions. Does that make sense? Because if it was a specific mission, like if it was just Alien Ship or it was just Gamma Wave, then restrict the mission and make them give up field dressing for it. Then that's a completely different conversation. Because now they're paying a penalty for getting their abilities.
Right.
And I'm fine with that. And if it's just that all missions are too consistent because there's too many missions that are all the same, then increase the number of missions you select, but don't increase the amount you get to look at. And that gives you more randomization, so it's less consistent, but you still have the option to get out of your nightmare scenario. Mm-hmm. And so I think either of those 2 choices would have been better at what we're doing. Now, and I don't think this is going to ruin the game or anything.
Right.
I just think it's a regression point. Mm-hmm. I think the game is going to get slightly worse because of this specific interaction, because they're so desperate to stop these negative environments from happening.
Now, see, I think the only thing, I will agree with you that I do not think this is the only way to solve the problem. I do like your elegant solution more. If you told me that we're going to remove randomization but increase the random chance, we're going to not make it totally random, but we're just going to make the odds more difficult.
Less consistent.
Right. That I approve of. I like your system. I think it's much more elegant, and it allows for much more strategic decisions. The problem is, I don't think they're necessarily just super terrified by the accidental missions they made, or it ruining the meta. I think they were more just interested in roster select being more important than mission select. And this is a very heavy-handed way of making that happen, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, unless they stop printing missions now, we're just going to get to the point where there's so many identical missions it doesn't matter.
Right.
And it's going to just make it even less fun. Because we already have, if you want to play Alien Ship, you can now play Alien Ship, Senators, and Scrolls, which are effectively 3 identical missions that are at 16, or is it 14? I think Senators is 14. 14, 17, and 20. So it's different point totals, but it's effectively the exact same mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to get to the point where that's just true of all missions. Like, you can do meteor, sword base, and I want to say there's another one that's basically the same. Shit. There might only be 2 of that one. But anyway.
Do you think, as a result of this, we're talking about like meta suppositions, I wonder if people will be more incentivized to do things like multiple affiliation lists, or the ability to switch from something that's scenario-based to more bruiser-based, because at any moment you might just be asked to bruise, and so you need to be able to bruise, or you just lose.
I like what you did there.
Thanks.
It was cute.
What do you think? Jeremy? Do you think people will start doing that? Do you think you'll see less all-in and more diversification in lists?
I really don't know. This keeps coming up, and at one moment it'll sit okay with me, and then moments later it won't. Like, I kind of feel like they need to come out and readdress that, just with some sort of statement, with what in the hell. Like, it really doesn't make that much sense with how good the rule set is, and how competitive this game can be, and how it all works together, and like, adding this random factor really can fuck someone over hard. Like, just randomly.
I feel like they're going to create just as many negative play experiences because of the random chance, as opposed to somebody taking the time to learn something very specific and try and execute it. I feel like it's going to be just as bad and actually more frequent. Because how many times have you played against somebody who's doing one of these scripted like games where it's like, I'm abusing everything allowed to me to get an advantage on this one scenario?
Truthfully, it's only happened a couple times, but what I will say is at least they intended it, and when it happens, you go, oh shit, you got it.
Like, yeah, you
But
got the thing you were trying
you
to
did
get to happen.
It's not
And so good
random.
job. Yeah, it's like, I'll try and do something to stop you next time. Like, I'll try and find a way to interrupt your ability.
Yeah, so there's a bit of... So, in one thing, like, the fact that you don't get to choose it anymore, taking that out of your hands is such a feel-bad. Like, you don't even get to feel smart for being able to counter it or try. It just doesn't matter. Like, for some reason, we took this part of the game out of the player's hands, and it does just feel so shitty. I mean, it's just weird.
Parker,
I wish they'd address it.
Going back to what you were talking about earlier, where do you think multiple affiliation lists will start becoming more prevalent? I think it's actually bad for multi-affiliation lists because it just locks you into one of the 2 affiliations, which will be, in my opinion, very obvious to your opponent if they understand the way your list works. And obviously, it requires your opponent to be knowledgeable, but I assume that any game your opponent is not knowledgeable of the game, you're going to win anyway, so that's not really relevant. And so it goes like, okay, well, I have Criminals and X-Force as my 2 lists. So one is obviously a brawly list, and the other one is I'm trying to win on scenario. So it's like, okay, well, I got to choose blue, and I flipped over Demons. Well, I guess Criminals are out, because there's no choice here. I have to play X-Force. And so now your opponent just knows you're playing X-Force, but because you're playing double affiliation, you have half as many tactics cards dedicated to only X-Force, and half as many character slots dedicated to only X-Force. And now you have to play an X-Force only list. And that's what I don't like about it.
Well, I think they purposely did, like, I think the 10 tactics cards is exactly saying to that. I think that's why it's going along with it. I think they were very specifically about, I think that's why so many characters are in like 4 factions. X-Force specifically, actually, I don't know if Criminals has any crossover, but X-Force exactly has crossover to a ton of different factions if you wanted to try to switch
I know
to
they
something
do.
new. So
but
like
that.
And right now, I could easily play 1 tactics cards out of 10 and devote or even go really nuts and have 2 X-Force cards specifically out of 10 and still play a bunch of my other factions cards.
I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying that your opponent is going to have 10 cards dedicated probably to 1 affiliation.
Or
and so they will have more options to counter one person stuck on a line of 2 different affiliations. And so my perception
the sentence
of this,
you just said made no sense. Go ahead, continue. Finish. I'll let you finish your idea.
Okay. So my perspective is, because the affiliations are getting so large at this point, like you said, characters are in so many different affiliations now. I don't see that as crossover bonus. I see that as a depth bonus. I can take 10 characters from one affiliation that do different things. And so, like, I could play Web Warriors and have a Brawly Web Warriors built into my Web Warriors list.
Sure.
And so now I'm not worried about wasting any cards, because Lethal Protector is good in any list I play, because Venom's good in both of those lists, and he's affiliated with both those lists. As where if you're doing this like hybrid, as a hypothetical, I said X-Force Criminals, sure, there's probably some overlap. Deadpool's obviously good in both lists, but he's not affiliated. And so it's going to just slowly reduce your options. And when something like this happens and it's very obvious to your opponent that you're playing X-Force, well, now he doesn't have to plan for the problems criminals can create.
I will actually say, I will say the one thing that I think unless, man, if somebody's able to do that whole game of, well, if I know that he knows that I know that he knows, if he knows that I know, like if your opponent's able to do that, then yeah, I guess they beat you. But if you're in roster selection and I have Kingpin and Cable in my list, and I have if I have 3 criminals and 3 X-Force members along with those 2, and I don't know if I'm counting right, but the point is, if I have nearly equal amounts of guys, and one of them's Taskmaster so he can switch, then I don't know how obvious it is for me to guess exactly what my opponent is doing. I do think it is obvious if one of those missions pops up that criminals just don't interact with in any way. Well, Then, yeah, I probably won't see criminals this game. I'll probably be seeing X-Force. But for me, as a person who's played X-Force, I don't care what the other 5 members of my factions are. If I get enough points to play X-Force, I'm just going to play the members of X-Force because that's all I need. And if I have 10 tactics cards, I could very easily play X-Force with the tactics cards they want, and play a few criminals cards with the tactics cards they want. I don't think I'll have a hard time with that. So,
right.
So I do think that it's not that it'll be a surprise. I don't think the advantage I get as a person who's playing X-Force and criminals, I don't think the advantage is surprise. I think that the advantage is I might be able to switch into a different situation. So if my opponent's playing only a Brawly list, and they're planning on playing 4 really big models at 20 points, well, the chances of them getting that have dropped dramatically. They can't plan on it anymore. And now, if your opponent is wise, like you said before, the catch-22, and the reason why we don't appreciate this is if your opponent's wise and notices you're playing a Brawly list, they could make it a 0% chance as opposed to a less chance. But that's I'm talking about the situation we have now. Mm-hmm. Which the situation we're about to have in a week. So, I think the tactically flexible, the tactically flexible list could have an advantage. Now, the one thing I'll say is something you did mention, which I think is true now. The fact that they've made a lot of factions now have double leaders means you don't have to leave your faction. You can still go all in on your one faction and pinch hit a little bit. Switch a little bit and actually go, you know what, I'm going to go shift gears here from my Sin to my, Red Skull and change the way I play and stay in my own faction. I think you're right. I think that's actually, I don't know if it's obviously what they were doing, but that is something we might see more of, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah. So specifically what I wanted to say was it's because dual affiliations in the past, and obviously getting 2 more tactic slots is going to be very beneficial for dual affiliation. Yeah. Not saying it's not. But having more flexibility in a single affiliation is not necessarily bad. Because if you look at it as you're going from 8 tactic slots to 10 tactic slots in a way that you're literally just assigning those next 2 affiliated cards to the other one. So, because a lot of affiliations have at least 2 cards that you kind of want to look at playing. And so if you're playing dual affiliation, those kind of just get filled up with those, and you're taking very specific character cards for your other affiliation. Mm-hmm. Or if you're just doing one affiliation, you got your 2 affiliated cards, give it 1 to 4 character specific cards. Well, now you still have a chunk at the bottom that's, very specific stuff. Now it starts letting you play stuff like Marked for Death, or I don't know, Inspiring Monologue, Climbing Gear, stuff that can be very specific to particular matchups that you couldn't afford to do before.
Right.
Like things that are very good in very unique matchups that you're only worried about. And so I think a single affiliation is going to gain a benefit from that, to being allowed to kind of specifically tech for what they want to do, as where a dual affiliation is still going to be hungry for slots. I don't think that'll be very doable in a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But the way it is currently, if you're doing dual affiliation versus single affiliation, you kind of have an idea about what they're doing, and yes, they can do the dual leader thing, and they can have kind of a switch hitting. But most people have a primary plan of what they want to do, and the other one's there as an in case. But the way it is now, you can look at what they're doing, oh, my opponent's playing dual affiliation, or I'm playing dual affiliation, and I see what my opponent's playing, I can choose one of my two missions that gives me the best option at this point. So having dual affiliation means that I can either go really hard into one of the two list strengths, or I can play one that's kind of best of both worlds for both and leave myself the flexibility. That option is completely gone now, which was one of the biggest things for me for playing dual affiliation. Because if I'm playing like Web Warriors X-Force and I have Demons and Gamma Wave as my two options, like Web Warriors can absolutely blow people out on Gamma Wave if they don't know how to stop it. Because you can start scoring 4 or 6 points a turn very quickly in Gamma Wave. Right. As where if you start dropping Demons, instantly Web Warriors are almost out because you will not outscore them fast enough. Because there's just not enough points available on the table. Especially if your opponent sees that you have Web Warriors as an available choice, they're probably going to try and limit you on Extract. And so all of a sudden, all of your points have dried up because of a random card flip. And now you're forced into playing X-Force, and they probably know it. And so now, all of the benefit of your dual affiliation has basically been thrown out the window. Now you're playing a half affiliation. Because you have half as many slots available to you because you diversified, and you got screwed over by your mission. So that's why I think dual affiliations are going to be weaker than they've ever been before. Even though the 2 Tactics cards helps them a lot, I think a normal list is just as advantaged. Because they can start including those things for their bad matchups, so they don't have to worry about specific bad matchups that you have to maybe worry about, even though you're dual affiliated. But maybe I'm an idiot. I could be wrong.
I guess I'm just trying to. I'm trying to. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I mean, everything that's being said and the frustrations that I'm hearing and feel, really, I feel like aren't going to account to much, really. The game is going to play basically the same and be just fine. Again, I just feel like they just need to say something, though. That's all my point is like what they're trying to accomplish, because it's just confusing.
What do you mean? What do they need to say?
What was the objective? Because the objective doesn't matter. Like, I don't understand what the point was.
They talked about that. They did it on the live stream. There was like a 5-minute conversation about it.
Okay, so they said they wanted to stop the turn 1 shenanigans, right?
Yeah, they talked about it a little bit in the blog post as well. It's specifically, there were scripted lists where people were building where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to choose Research Station Attack, or not Research, I'm going to choose Deadly Legacy Virus, and then I'm going to take Advanced R&D, and I'm going to take Angela. Angela's going to pick up 2 points on turn 1. The other one's going to get picked up by Toad or Quicksilver, who's going to steal it from them. And I'm going to be playing, Criminal, so I can hand the token off, and I can just win the thing on turn 2 and just get 8 points, and my opponent won't ever be able to come back. It's like people were doing stuff like that, and they thought it was abusive to the game and did not leave room for fun experiences, because either your opponent lost the game because their trick didn't work, or it did and they won. And so there was very little interaction, and it was not the way the game was designed to work. And so that was the primary reason they said they wanted to do it. They wanted to make it to where you could not plan your entire game in advance, that you had to deal with basically random chance. And they wanted people to stop building lists like that.
I think we've traded a bad experience for a bad experience.
That's my fear, exactly.
I mean, turn 0 is still just fucked up. Like, it just sucks for different reasons.
It's getting better with the proposed changes.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think any of it will matter that much. I at least not to me. I don't really care about turn 1 shenanigans. I don't really care about any of that. And, I'm not that worried about it, but...
Yeah, exactly. Like, I haven't seen anybody trying to abuse the missions like this, so obviously I'm not the best person to say if it's a bridge too far, it's not enough, because I haven't had to deal with it directly. But I think this is a big... It's not an overreaction, it's a misreaction. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like they, in their efforts to fix it, they've caused an issue that I believe to be more prevalent. This is going to now affect everyone playing the game versus the 5 to 10% of the population that were doing it before. Mm-hmm. Like, every single game of MCP is now affected by this rule.
I think it would have been better. I mean, they even did... What's that other version of the game called where you randomly shuffle both piles together and pull one? I mean, that was even better.
I could see that. If both people showed up and you shuffle and you just basically rolled off to see which of the people's missions
Because then it just mattered about priority, who picked the number.
Yeah, what if you both flipped 2 of each, and then the person with priority got to choose? So like you got to see if they even got the mission you were afraid of.
I don't know.
I'm just theorizing about how this could work.
I think there was
it's too complicated though.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We haven't experimented with it. It just when you take the choices out of your players' hands, it just creates feels bads. And
I feel like this is exactly parallel to the table markers thing that happened in War Machine. Yeah, it probably doesn't hurt you in very many games, but the games that hurt you a lot because it makes the game less fun to play. And that's always a negative. Making the game less fun to play is always a negative. And we're doing all of this, making all of the games across the world slightly less fun because some dickhead was being annoying. And we should have just told him to stop in some way. That wasn't make everybody's thing less fun. It's like, oh, you abused like instant messenger, so no one can use this in messenger anymore. Like just like stuff where it's like everyone gets punished because one guy's being a jackass.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just say you can't do objective shit turn 1. I mean, that's why not? Who gives a shit? Like seriously. Anyway, again, that's not what they did, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I was gonna say one of the things I wanted to try to focus the conversation more about, like how we think the meta would change. That's what I wanted to know. Not so much. There are more elegant ways to fix this problem, but I wondered if when I'm playing, I don't want the bad thing to happen to me. I want to try to mitigate that as often as possible. So I was thinking, okay, how often am I going to have a really bad experience because I got fucked by a triple coin flip or whatever it's going to be functionally. Now, I will tell you this, actually, from my standpoint, as a person who hasn't played the game very much, and I haven't seen all the missions yet, I haven't even played every one of them yet, having a totally random mission doesn't make a whole lot of difference when I go to the table. I think a lot of people won't notice, unless they've played, 100 games of MCP, and then you'll start to notice really badly whenever you have a really bad experience.
That is a great opinion to have. I think that's exactly correct.
Yeah. As I probably won't even notice the difference between the random choice I had over the one I did, because I'm usually the only thing I'm guessing at right now is point levels. Like I look across at my opponent, I go, oh, that person has Black Order. Thanos is on the board. I'm going to play 15 points if I have the choice. Like that's what I'm going to try, and that will be less easy to do now, unless I make sure that all of my point values are low, and I'm purposely trying to play something that has better at low point values. That's why I mentioned it before. I think that's one of the only things, since it's one of the only things I might be able to skew towards is point value. I might generate my list, my full 10 roster might be highly playable at lower point values, and I'll try to make that happen if I get priority. Here's an interesting point. Do you think I feel like we all could agree that certain lists get super duper scary with high point values? But do lists that are good at low point values just automatically kind of do okay at higher point levels just because you can add in more characters? Thinking of factions like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Captain Sam, it's not bad that you add in 2 more characters at 20 points, right?
This is kind of a left turn conversation. Is this a whole new topic you want to talk about?
No, I'm just saying, like, in a world where you can't guarantee your point values as easily. Sorry, where the point value might be the only thing you can actually try to skew because everything else like playing, like you said, until we have a mission of every type, right? Because right now we have 3 of some things, but until we have a mission of every type, if I really really want to play this kind of mission and I can't guarantee it, maybe I really want to try to play my point level that I want. Is there a certain kind of list, or maybe even an affiliation that plays every point level better, or plays small point levels as well as they play big point levels, so it won't be a problem? I'm thinking specifically of like Guardians of the Galaxy, and
it's complicated,
and Avengers.
So the issue with specific, like a lot of people, we talked about this specifically with Black Order. People assume Black Order need to play 20 points, and that's actually not true. Black Order wants to play 17. And so a lot of people will trick themselves in saying, oh, I can't play 20. But the answer is 17 points of Black Order versus 17 points of other stuff is way less fair than 20 points of Black Order and 20 points of other stuff. Because they're just adding in a random jackass that isn't necessary to their list to work. And you're adding in maybe the 3 points you needed to get the models that fixed your problems. And so it kind of just depends. Generally, I think abusive lists at high or low point totals are just when it happens to be like my Cabal list that turns into Super Friends. It's just convenient that I cannot afford to have all 3 of my super characters at 17 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I technically could do it at 18, so I would do it immediately at 18, but 17, you just can't do it. It doesn't work.
Right.
And so getting to 20 means that I have new legal options. And some affiliations, like Defenders, for example, maybe you want to play New Hulk and Doctor Strange. Well, that's not really an option at 15 or 17, even though it might technically be, because it's only 13 points. But you're not going to play Hulk and Doctor Strange at 15 and then throw in Wong. Like, you just lose on scenario instantly because you can't occupy any space without dying. And so that's not really an option. But at higher points, it might sound stupid, but adding Luke Cage to that list dramatically changes the way it plays. Like, if you can just get to 16, whole new list.
Okay. So, do you think there's an affiliation that if we all can agree, maybe I'm wrong, that you can more easily control the point value that you're at in the new system than you can your objective style. So if you could more easily control your point value, is there a list you think will do better in that? An affiliation, maybe you think you'll do better in that environment where you can try to keep it low, and then the worst case scenario is you get to add more characters, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. I think this isn't the answer to your question, but I think my answer would be it's always more fun to play the game from the perspective of playing a new point total every game than playing a new mission every game. If you're playing the exact same list every time you play the game, it's less fun when you're just playing that list on different missions. And so if you want to get to 17 points because your list is strongest at 17, that's going to be way less fun than just building a flexible roster and playing the same mission over and over again. Because as long as the point totals change every time, but you're playing like alien ship scrolls and senators, like the concept of your objectives don't change, but because your list is changing every game, I find that a lot more entertaining. And I know that's not really what you asked, but that's what I'm saying is I would look for an affiliation that has lots of characters that interact well together, but no hard combo that you're trying to pull off.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, well, I want to play 15 points every single time because my 15-point list is really good, because I'm playing Magneto, Red Skull, and MODOK. Well, sure, but that's going to be way less fun than playing, like, all the deployment echoes with all kinds of different characters.
Jeremy, is there a better list when you can control your points? Or that's the only thing you can control and you can't guarantee missions very well?
Well, it used to be Black Order. If you could play 17 every mission, I think Black Order was the best faction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of I think what Brandon was saying is about how I feel as well. I kind of fall back in my War Machine mode where when you'd set up a game, we would generally play the same mission every time because it didn't really matter. Like, play the mission, so you're playing different models on the same mission. You both understand it, so you play it. I'm trying to take shit from you, push you out of this bubble, whatever. Keep it simple, play the same game, and mix the models up. That's where the fun is to me too. I don't know. I always look at Marvel Crisis as like, okay, I got to pick those things up and stand next to those. It doesn't matter what it is. I just don't care like that much. And when you get tons of different versions of that, I don't know. Just, yeah.
Yeah, the mission should force you to act, but it shouldn't dominate the game. And I think that's why stuff like Gamma Wave is a bit oppressive, because it dominates the game. Having to stand in the middle of the table and also forcing you to try and advance up the table in that narrow channel is very oppressive to some affiliations, which is why I think it's a bit too strong. But I don't even think Gamma Wave is what people consider the most oppressive mission. I think it's other stuff. But personally, like, Legacy Virus is probably one of the biggest ones, because it can just randomly explode in points out of nowhere.
I think Sword is by far the most egregious.
You think it is?
Oh my god.
Well, is it a combination of low scoring, but it is also all one-sided scoring?
And not only are you winning,
demons. It's just rotated demons, but it's not all or nothing.
Mm.
It's just 3 secures, but it's one person's getting 3 points and everyone's getting 0.
You're winning, and you're also pushing a model of your opponents out. Like, it is the most backbreaking shit ever. It's winning plus winning more. It's so stupid. and it's a coin flip one, which is so dumb.
Yeah, the happening to roll on it's really stupid.
If that one doesn't get restricted, I'll be shocked.
I don't think it will.
Or banned. Like, just get rid of the damn thing. It's such an anomaly.
That's kind of my perspective. If there's negative play experience or abusable missions, just restrict them. If they're paying tactics slots, basically, like they're getting rid of the good tactics cards to play these missions, I don't care. They can play them. That's fair to me.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine I would run into anybody that disagrees. And if they want to, because it's a combination of people playing these like advanced R&D and stuff, put advanced R&D on the restricted list. That way, if they were like, all right, well, I want to play, Legacy Virus or Sword Base and advanced R&D, it's like, cool. Well, you're getting nothing else. Like everything else is getting restricted. You're not getting All You've Got. You're not getting Doom Prophecy. You're not getting Field Dressing. You're not getting Med Pack. You're not getting Evacuation Effort. You're not even getting Gamma Wave. Like just put 10 things on the restricted list and watch the meta diversify. That would be fine with me. But honestly, rather than just picking random missions, I would rather just be like 4 preset missions you roll on randomly. Like, just let me know what's happening. But when everybody's doing different shit, it's going to be impossible to actually like counteract anything.
So actually, that's actually one of the things I wonder. That's what I think about. Like, we're talking about like new meta, but beyond like how much we would rather it be different. And I want to try to move the conversation around from how much we don't like it, to what we're going to see the community do. I wonder if the game will just be really focused on tactical decisions and not strategic decisions. Like you won't really have. There's no point to think, okay, I'm going to create a roster that's going to be able to execute this plan well. I'm only going to be able to operate like tactically within the game, or maybe a little bit strategically at model select, maybe. But most of it's just going to be, how do I put things down on the board to interact with this? And the words that just came out of my mouth don't sound like an unfun game. I don't see. I see the meta probably just being less focused on which model is best and more focused on how well did you play. Is that what that does?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I think we've pretty much covered the mission side of it. I don't know there's really anything else we can say. I think we all kind of don't like this suggested change coming up, and we all think it could be slightly better.
I have a question.
But I don't think none of us think it's going to ruin the game.
I have a question that's not about new meta, but not about this. Do you think having a bunch of 3-point models running around with throws and 2 power a turn from Dormammu's Dark Dimension faction, do you think that is going to be a real kick in the pants if everybody can all of a sudden be exactly Valkyrie? Is that going to be really oppressive? The Dormammu list I built has 4 3-point characters in it that can all move medium and throw you every single turn from nothing, from just standing still. Is that going to be really hard to deal with?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, what you've described is just web warriors with less characters and bad Shuri, so I can't imagine.
Okay.
Like, the board control lists exist and they don't involve an 8-point character. Like, that's a hard pill to swallow. Because at 17 points, you're talking about 9 more points. You have 3 3-pointers with 2 power. If your list is designed around abusing 3 2-pointers, it's like you would just play Inhumans. Like, just play Inhumans and hand them power.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you, after playing Inhumans, it's much better to have 2 power. You could do more things. And by the way, the characters that I'm planning to play in Dark Dimension, that I was thinking about with the 3-pointers, they also have lots of other things to do with their 2 power other than just walk, throw. But
yeah. Obviously, power is good, but I don't think, like, how often in the game do you go, man, if only I had a 2nd power, I could do this thing? Like, does that happen a lot for you?
Well, no, because usually I'm playing characters that don't need power, because I don't want to play characters that need power, because I can't plan on having it. So I usually purposely play low power characters. I hate characters that don't. I hate characters that run only on power. Like, I really need Lizard. I know Lizard's really strong. I don't want to play him because I know he's just a speed bump. But if Lizard got 2 power a turn and he could always throw, he would be much more an aggressive, much more dangerous objective piece. He'd be much more, good God, what do I do about Lizard? He's just going to throw me every time I try to engage him, and I can't kill him easily.
That's just not how power works. Like, you get power. Like, it's not like you will never have power throughout the course of a game.
Tell that to Amazing Spider-Man and Venom. I've played so many games where I just whiff on 4 attack rolls, and now I watched a character not have any power for the whole game.
But you understand that that's an outlier, right? It's like 4 attack rolls not dealing damage, regardless of the attack rolls, is unlikely.
I guess I've had enough time. I guess I've had it happen enough times. The Dark Dimension sounds real nice.
I think you're just remembering the negative events and not the other events. But, like, you'll get a power the first turn, you'll get power on the second turn. So, yeah, like, turn 1, you can't double move and throw without doing something. And if that's your problem, just put Advanced R&D in your list. If that's exactly what Advanced R&D is supposed to be for. Is like, oh, this one time I didn't have the second power, Tactics card. That's literally what it's for. It's not for fucking scenario Monopoly. Like, it's so you can fucking actually play the game.
Okay, now I am really confused because I was really sure that Valkyrie was a fantastic piece because she got 2 power a turn and she could move twice and throw and use her power to hurt people. And there
her
are
numbers
lots of
were also amazing. Like, it was
What?
if you took the throw off of her card and as Guardian off of her card, she's still a good model.
Yeah.
That was the issue with Valkyrie.
Yes.
Is that she got the second power and the throw, and in addition to just being a good character. That's
Yes.
what put her over the top.
But I want you to know
And so-
there are 4 other characters of the game that don't have 2 power because they would be on her power level if they had 2 power. And I can tell you who they are. I'll tell you the 3 characters. So the 4 characters I put in here that I think are really dumb if they get 2 power a turn.
Ooh, wait, let me guess.
Go ahead,
Luke
guess.
Cage
He was on the list. He got cut. He wasn't good enough. Go ahead.
wasn't good enough. All
Nope.
right. So I know it's not Drax then.
It's Drax. Drax is on the list.
Why Drax over Luke Cage? Luke Cage is better than Drax.
He doesn't hit as hard. Drax hits harder. That's the
Drax
only difference.
does hit harder.
And
But if you're talking about somebody who just wants more power, I would say Luke Cage. But Drax is fine. Whatever.
yeah,
So
it was
Drax-
really close. Luke Cage was damn close.
Okay. 3-pointer has a throw.
They're
not
really
Lizard.
dumb if they have. Well, I already mentioned one. I'll give one to you. Lizard. Lizard was one. I think
Okay, so the characters you said it wasn't, it is. All right, gotcha.
No. I
let's
didn't
see.
say that. I said Lizard is super dumb. I think if he has 2 power return, I think he's really dumb.
I think you will quickly find that is not an issue. Why can't I remember? It's not Crossbones.
No.
Beast?
Yeah, he's on the list.
Okay. Storm?
Yes.
Okay. There's one more?
Now we're at the non-throwers that I thought were good enough that don't deserve 2 power return that abuse it.
Oh.
Lizard, Drax,
Mysterio.
Storm, Beast.
Mysterio
What?
would be good.
What?
Mysterio with more power is good.
Mysterio, but I actually found that Mysterio actually gained power, but that's the one game I played him in. But yeah,
I never had enough power.
Okay,
He
but-
got power,
yeah.
but it was just never enough for me.
Mysterio's on the list. Also, Quicksilver's on the list. I think Quicksilver with extra power turn because his low dice means he can not have power.
He gets plenty.
With what? With when does he get power? With this great 4 dice
Power up,
physical roll.
attacking, and taking damage. Those are the 3 ways you get power. He gets-
Brandon, don't patronize me. I didn't come to this.
I'm not-
I don't come to
I'm
this
not-
podcast to get patronized by you. I'm talking about Dormammu. Do you think Dormammu will be excited with 3-pointers that can abuse 2 power because they're better? They're ostensibly better than Valkyrie, and we all agreed Valkyrie was a 9 out of 10 character, right? So I think Dormammu with a bunch of 3-pointers is going to be really strong that can use 2 power a turn.
I'm not trying to patronize you. I'm just saying that I don't feel that my characters are so power hungry compared to the characters you're playing. Like you're talking about like I don't get to use my abilities. I'm like I don't find that to be true in my games.
I suppose. Let me just say this then.
I literally cannot remember the last time I activated Quicksilver and didn't have power left at the end of my activation.
Okay, so I guess this is what I'll say. It's not the. That's actually a really good point. At the end of my activation or at the end of their activation, did my 3-point character have power? Sure, but I'm talking about proactively, and I guess that's the thing that Valkyrie has is she can do everything proactively. I don't have to wonder if she's going to do good hits. I don't have to wonder if my opponent's going to roll good defense dice. We've talked about it before. It's the best version of this game is when dice aren't in the mix, when you don't have to count on dice. And I think Dormammu's Dark Dimension power on certain 3-point models, and I'm picking 3-pointers because they're more flexible for his kit, for his huge point value also. So I think there are a bunch of 3-pointers in this game that would benefit greatly from not having to care if dice were going to happen or not. They just got 2 power a turn. And that was. So my question was: are you excited about it as I am? But apparently, when you saw Dormammu, you did not see that. you saw something else.
The extra power per turn does not come into my decision making in the slightest when I build Dormammu lists right now.
Okay.
And maybe that will change, but right now I literally do not even care that it says that on his card.
Wow. Okay.
Can I give you a VIP you didn't mention for Dormammu?
Go for it.
Miles.
He was on the list too. Yeah, Miles is definitely on the list because the ability to get 2 power turn and proactively jump is. Yeah.
Miles definitely has the slight power issue.
Yeah.
Because he commonly runs out.
And he has stealth. He can actually pull off the grab something and walk backwards and escape. Like with more power, he's kind of crazy.
Miles was close.
If you had 3 power on Miles, he's really annoying.
Yeah. Also, Black Cat was also possible. I thought. The stagger on a stick and her ability to take things proactively without taking damage or getting dice rolls. Like there are a bunch of really good characters that.
How are they balancing her? Is she not getting updated because of Enchantress? Because her burglary is literally the same thing as Enchantress's ability, right? Am I crazy? That annoyed me the other day. I looked that up, or someone played it against me, and I was like, wow, that's really dumb that's just going to be there and the other one isn't. Master Cat Burglar, cost 3, choose enemy character within range 1, move 1 asset from that character to this character. Yeah, it's exactly the same as the Enchantress's ability, except she's speed long.
Yeah.
And has stealth.
And
gets
move.
an extra move.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
And costs less. Like, that annoyed the shit out of me the other day.
Is hers an action?
Nope.
They left it old
She
time.
can double move long and take your thing. Or she can move long, take your thing, move long with stealth, and then place. Like, she will be double medium away from you.
And she does have stealth, right?
Action.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has stealth.
Yeah.
That's real stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That real dumb.
Oh, and you always have to raw dice her. You can't modify your dice attendant.
Yeah, you can't mod your attack dice.
You have to raw dice her every time.
She's like Angela meets Enchantress.
She's real good. She's one of those characters I think on the short list for Dark Dimension also. I wonder how many 3-pointers you can play in Dark Dimension that are just going to feel so bad because they get 2 power a turn proactively. Again, the idea is remove dice from the game and just get really good abilities that don't need dice.
So back on the Valkyrie topic.
Sure.
It was because if you look at Drax, like his whole thing is numbers, right? He has better numbers than anybody else.
Right.
No one can compete with his numbers because he has the best hit points. He has damage reduction. He has the best attacks. He has small dice mods. He has a throw. He doesn't have power generation. He doesn't have action economy, and he doesn't have any tricks. Like, he's just a brick that walks forward and kills things in front of him.
A brick with knives stuck out of the side of it, yeah.
Right. So Valkyrie hits probably slightly less hard in the long run, but in a short burst, she can match him pretty easily. But then she has action economy with charge, she has power generation with Asgardian, and she has a cheaper throw. And she's faster? No, they're the same speed, I think. So that was the issue, is that he didn't have any of the quality of life things, and she could match him in the short term in damage and survivability. Because he wasn't so much harder to kill than she is, that it was like Luke Cage versus her.
Right.
Even though I guess that's not even a great comparison at this point. But yeah, so that was why Valkyrie was always the choice. But Drax was always there, and he was never off the table. It was just that...
Go ahead.
I
was going to say, I actually wondered if... I stared at Valkyrie, actually, for a while. It was Valkyrie with 3 power a turn, actually just much better. Could she do a whole lot more? And, she's automatically taking damage on turn 2 unless she uses her power. But if she double moves and... I mean, if you get one of those situations where you have the double scenarios on one point where you can check something and take something on the same turn, that's a really nice first turn for her. She moves twice and gets both and still has a power left over to get 3 power the next turn to start charging and throwing and stuff. There's lots of things Valkyrie with 3 power turn gets to do.
She literally doesn't need the extra power.
Right.
Because she can do the thing already, and next turn she'll have 2 power to charge. Like, she literally doesn't need the boost.
She doesn't. Which is why she made, number 12 or 11 or something on my list of people that would do it. But
yeah, she's on the cutting block.
Yeah. But I wonder, maybe I'm wrong. And Drax, because he doesn't have the action economy, that's a really big deal. Since he doesn't have the action economy.
That's what I think you're going to notice.
Maybe Drax can't do it. The one thing I wanted Drax to be able to do was what I've noticed with him in games is that he will move twice, usually onto something to try to be a brick with knives on him. He'll get controlled off and never touched, or when he does get touched, he just gets obliterated. So your opponent makes sure he's always dazed so that he can't do his thing with a bunch of power. And if your opponent gets really unlucky and can't do it, then yeah, Drax gets to do it. But that's what you actually get to do with Drax, is you get to wait for your opponent to be unlucky and not down him really fast. So I was wondering if Drax has 4 power, at the beginning of turn 2, can he just go ahead and just try to go off by himself? Can he just, at that point, your opponent didn't need to give him power, didn't need to attack him. He can just start trying to kill things. And if he takes damage from Dormammu's ability, if he has 6 power, then he just, or what, is it 4 power he starts taking damage? It's
6.
Yeah, it's 6. So if he has 6 power, then he starts taking damage, he just, his things hit harder because he has damage on him. It seemed like it seems like an interesting fit, but I don't know. Again, are there more abusable things with things like Black Cat that just feels so dumb because he never even, why attack? Just have infinity power to constantly steal things and run away.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so I have a list I am excited to play with Dormammu that I want to run through as well.
Okay.
Unless you want to keep talking about your list, if there's something we haven't gotten to.
There's one thing about Dormammu that I wanted to know. Speaking of that, I will mention one thing about the list I came up with. Do you think he has room for 4-pointers? I have a couple 4-pointers in there that I thought he would really like. Do you think you have space in it with an 8-point model?
The short answer is no.
Yeah.
But realistically, yes. It just depends on what you're trying to do.
Right.
You can obviously make anything work, but I think 4-pointers with an 8-pointer is a weird spot because you get to a very low model count very quickly with 4-pointers.
That's precise. Every time I went into like mission selection, I was like, man, I don't know when I'm going to play a 4-point model. One model that made the cut in the 4 points that I was like, man, this seems so good is Venom. I was like, man, if Venom had a little more power, that just sounds super mean to have a Venom with a Venom that always has the power he wants. Just sounds so brutal. Like you'll never get to do what you want with Venom in the middle of things. If he has 2 power a turn, this just seems so mean. But
what about the dog?
I don't know. Can you pay for 3 points that don't hurt or win the game with an 8-point model? I wondered, but I don't think so. I don't think you can. 3 points that I cut, but he was actually, I stared at him for just a moment, was our friend the Kukri Stabber, Kraven. I was like,
Kraven.
I was like, Kraven could actually do his ability that does auto damage when people move, and he has the ability to add a dice to attacking. I actually think the 3-pointer that's a supportish type model that will go in later is Mordo. I think Mordo is probably pretty good for Dormammu's list.
Yeah, Mordo getting a little bit more power is never bad.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm typing up my list here because it's kind of complicated.
But yeah, my first attempt was actually a Dormammu and Wakandan switch, because a lot of the Wakandans like to have 2 power a turn. So you could drop Wakandans into the Dormammu list that relies on the 3-pointers that are really efficient. And if for some reason you didn't want to play a Dormammu list, or you thought that 8-point model was really restrictive, you could switch to Wakandans because they don't mind small point games either. And you only need the 1 tactic slot for it. So that was my first draft, was Wakandan / Dormammu. Good idea, bad idea, Jeremy?
I don't know. I really haven't spent much time thinking about Dormammu, being I don't have him yet. He's a big, stompy robot monster. I mean, he's not a robot, but he's big and stompy, and I'm sure he'll be a blast to play. And I think everything you do will be slightly more fun with more power.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it'll come down to. He has that auto-resurrect card of his, so you get an extra model to pop back on the table. That's got to be fun.
That's the other problem with like 4-pointers. It's like if you end up at like 16 points and you're like, yeah, Dormammu, Black Panther, Venom, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
like what have I done?
Yeah. It is hard to stomach that. Luke Cage is another reason why I think that Resurrect card's going to be dumb as shit, because, man, removing Luke Cage is always such a hassle. And if he has 2 power a turn to always do his protecting thing, and he's throwing you and hitting you with the, Sweet Christmas, his big uppercut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luke Cage is definitely on that list. Go ahead.
All right, my list is typed up and ready. Are you guys ready for the game-changing new meta that is about to exist.
I smell. Okay, I'm holding an envelope to my head.
There's going to be some real bullshit happening.
I'm holding an envelope onto my head. I predict Doctor Strange and Magneto in this list. That's my prediction. Go.
Nope. 10-point Thanos.
Parker, you get to choose one model or tactics. One model other than Dormammu, and I will bet you 10 probationary episodes. If you're right or wrong, it's in the list. So you name a character other than Dormammu, and if it's in the list, we go down 10 probations. If you're wrong, it goes up 10 probations. So basically, nothing to lose. Might as well bet.
Okay. So I have to pick one of the 9 other characters.
Yeah, you just have to get one.
Okay. This is interesting. Because you and I...
But you have to name the character...
I know.
Exactly.
Oh, God. What does that mean?
You have to use the character's name. No slang or nicknames. You have to say the character's name.
Sure.
No Dampiers has to say the character's name.
So if it is the Dampier, I have to lose some episodes and gain some episodes.
It's going to be a swing of 9 or 11.
That's cute. You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna wonder if one of them is Carnage.
Ooh, I thought about Carnage. So I guess we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
It's a 4-pointer. I know that's a really out on the limb, but I thought.
Yeah.
I wondered if you would like Carnage.
This list contains 4-point models.
Okay.
So here we go. Dormammu, obvious we knew. Second model, Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Third model, hold on to your butts, Ultron.
Okay.
Next model, Lockjaw. Are you noticing a trend?
Never die.
Never die.
Yeah, never die.
Luke Cage, Nebula, Toad, Thanos, Time Stone, Reality Stone. And then tactics cards, we have Medpack, All You've Got, Dark Resurgence, Deal with the Devil, Last Minute Save, The Age of Ultron, and Heroes for Hire. Actually, that's only 7. I have one more tactics slot I haven't picked yet.
So I lost 10 episodes. Oh no.
I definitely will just give you the W. I don't want to fuck with that.
You're like, I will just not play.
So
at 20 points, you do Dormammu, Ghost Rider, Ultron, Lockjaw, and you have 3 Resurrects in your list. Parker looks very unimpressed.
Well, I mean,
this is going to be hilarious.
It will be hilarious.
But also, there's actually a good list in here somewhere, see? Because if we do Dormammu, Ghost Rider, that's 13 points, right? Mm-hmm. So we just throw in either, I guess Ultron's kind of memey, but you could do Nebula, Toad would be fine at 17. And at 16, you do Luke Cage probably, but you can do Lockjaw.
Okay,
but the thought is, if you've got Ultron is basically unkillable, and then you've got Deal with the Devil, Ghost Rider, who's unkillable, and then you've got Dormammu, who through all of that bullshit is basically unkillable, and then you can either bring in Lockjaw for more maneuverability and last minute save, or you bring in Luke Cage for more protection, and then you can resurrect either of them as you choose. But the best part is you can literally leverage Ultron and Ghost Rider to the rafters. Like, there is nothing they can do to them that will get rid of them.
Well, move them.
Because to remove them from the table.
Yeah.
Like, they can get them out of the way. I'm not trying to win on scenario. I'm trying to kill people. Mm-hmm. And so it's all about, that was the other card. I remember now. Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
So you can literally go fishing and go grab somebody from their side and put them base to base with Dormammu and laugh at them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best move, and this would be so much fun, is late game, like turn 5, when Dormammu's about to die, Ghost Rider pops out of him.
Blah.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be super fun to play, because this feels like Karchev-esque jank. Like, it's like nobody's they're gonna look at this like, what? Like, they don't even understand what it is.
I actually don't. You can try it, and maybe I'm very wrong, but I don't know how much you'll actually appreciate last minute save. I
don't know that you're wrong. I think it's more of a joke.
Yeah.
But I don't need the character slot, and I don't know that it's terrible, because you still have Interdimensional Bloodhound. And so he's going to make Ghost Rider, Ultron, and Dormammu even more scary, and range 3 places, because last minute saves in there for Dormammu.
Yes.
If Dormammu gets in a bad spot before he's activated, I can yank him back. That's really all it's there for.
But yeah, well, what I found with last minute save is it's hard to pull off in a meaningful way. But you could
Sure.
do it once, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think this list is going to be fun. Feel free to tech against me. This is what I'm bringing to the tournament in 2 weeks.
Grievous wins. I don't know.
No!
That doesn't do anything.
Wait.
That
Hold
doesn't
on.
do anything.
That doesn't do anything.
That's what I'm saying. Grievous wins.
I guess it would stop last minute save.
Yeah, it does do that. But yeah, who cares? Like, yay, you did it.
It just seems
Huh.
annoying.
Does that move? Does that? Yeah, like you'll never. You go in on Ghost Rider, doesn't care. Going in on Galtron, doesn't care. Going on Dormammu, I guess Dormammu's the only like safe one to kill, but he's harder to kill. So if
He's
Dormammu,
not easy to kill.
yeah. So you have to go through Dormammu because you played Ultron and Ghost Rider. That's interesting. You basically
So
said
we're just to cover the bases here. He's 10 hit points on the front, 4/4/5. Does he have anything else? I think that's it. Right?
Immune to a
he
bunch
can
of stuff.
teleport. He's immune to bleed, incinerate, and stagger.
Yeah.
That's not nothing. Holy
No.
shit!
No, he's
All
awesome.
three of those are very relevant.
Yes.
Is he gonna have like infinite power?
No, he's stunned.
So he's basically permanently stunned,
he's
but
perma-stunned.
also he has whenever an allied character is damaged, he gains the power.
Mhm.
Like that's going to be not nothing.
Yeah.
And then on the backside he has another 12 hit points. And so I've got Medpack in the list probably, so that's probably going to make a total 25 hit points. That's not easy to get through.
No. Yeah, you'll have to have basically your opponent will have to have a really great day on damage against Dormammu, and that's how you'll remove Dormammu, and then you just have to hope the Ultron and Ghost Rider don't win while that's happening.
Yeah. Also, Ghost Rider's fucking you up the whole time you're trying to kill him.
Yes, every cut you do, he's getting
Yeah,
a
so
piece
if you're
of it.
getting good damage, he's getting good damage.
Yeah. And Ghost Rider is a character like he needs more power, but if he has lots of power, he can use it all. Like every turn.
Also,
every turn he loves to use 6 power every turn. Like
yeah,
he can
exactly.
definitely
Like do it. With his Hell on Wheels, he loves free power.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he's basically gonna have infinite power anyway.
Right.
But he can always dump it, and so
Yes.
he's almost never gonna take the damage.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing with Thanos. If I do the Thanos at 17 points, it's Thanos, Dormammu, Time Stone, Reality Stone. So they're both just monsters, right? You're probably gonna lose on Scenario, which is whatever. But you have Cosmic Portal times 9/11 because of Thanos. And so he's just going to move everybody, including Dormammu, every turn.
That's hilarious.
It's like, you're just going to lose these 3 scenario points. Fuck off. Like, I'm just going to slow you down enough to where Dormammu can kill everybody. And then you port Dormammu and you port one of their guys closer to Dormammu, and he just obliterates them. Trademark. Because it's Incantation of Obliteration. I need to read this again. Hold on.
His spinner is just okay.
It's just okay.
Yeah.
It's just okay.
It's okay.
It has infinite attacks. Just okay.
Yeah. Well, you have to roll for it, right? It's certain dice, right?
You do have to roll,
Yeah.
but he's rolling 8 dice.
Yeah.
And you obviously have to get a critical, so you're probably rolling 9 dice. Well, you're literally rolling 9 dice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's not guaranteed or anything. But, I think it's going to happen a surprisingly large amount of the time because you're going to be rolling so many dice.
Mm-hmm.
I think the actual odds are somewhere around 25%.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You only need it to happen once to really change a game.
Oh, dude, everybody he points at dies. Like, it doesn't, like,
Yeah.
he straight up blows up things.
Yeah, because he's 8 dice, 5 out of 8 results, which is what changes the math, really. It's a 25%. His dice are 25% better than everyone's dice, and he gets another, like, fucking 25% on your dice.
Right.
And so he's actually, like, 3 times better than an average. Well, not 3 times better, but he's 2 additional die results per die, basically. Not quite, because there's less defense dice on average. It's like 1.5 better, so I'd say about 35% better. He's like a full third better per attack die, I would say. Yeah, it's not nothing.
Yeah.
And also in a small sample size, I can see you hitting this like back to back and just killing 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just like Web Warriors or Wakandans just push you, and then
I don't even think you need that. I think you literally just need like Sam spam. Just stay on the board and you win. If you can exist to turn 4, you win the game.
because there's nothing because Ghost Rider can push you. That's it. And Ultron never throw? Does Ultron can he throw people?
He can throw stuff, not people.
Right. So you basically, if you can just.
I was talking specifically about the Thanos list. I think the Ghost Rider list has a little bit of game. It depends. It really depends. But yeah, I think this is gonna be super fun, and it looks janky, and I love jank, especially when it works. Oh man, yeah, I'm very excited. I was not excited for Dormammu even when he came out the other day, and I bought him, and I was like, whatever. And I just like left it in my car over the weekend, like whatever. But now I'm like, oh shit! Like I actually like have a list I want to play. This sounds amazing.
Yeah, I was super excited to play the Dompier when I got home. So excited! I was just yay! And I ripped that open. I started looking at his cards. I sleeved everything. I was like, cool.
Like,
what else did I buy?
Why was I excited about this?
What else? Yeah, I was like, what else did I buy? And I was like, Dormammu. I was like, Dormammu. What does he do? And I read it because like
he's the one with attacks, right?
Yeah, he's the one that like hurts his guys when you get power and stuff. What's that do?
And Parker.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you a good sportsmanship award. Yeah, because you've successfully navigated around Blade like 11 times today.
Yeah,
I'm going to reduce your total probationary episodes.
Achievement unlocked. Well done.
Yeah. So you have 631.25. I'm gonna reduce you down to 630.
Ha!
1.
Yeah.
Fucking got it.
Well, I am. I might actually tomorrow. I might actually play the Dompier. I really like Moon Knight. Actually, I know I'll put down.
I want to see them on the table. That'd be good if you played them.
Yeah.
All right. So we have talked about what we're currently playing. We talked about the possible new meta that will exist outside of the or after the update. Future events. We are considering going to the Las Vegas Open for MCP, and potentially anything close to Kansas City. Let us know if we're forgetting something, but we would like to go to some events. If you are within 4 hours of Kansas City and you run regular events with good turnout, send me a message. __ at _ Brandon at _ Gmail.
By the way, those underscores are actually
/online.
Fully text.
Yeah, it's not the symbol. Type out _
Everyone knows you're fucking around now because we know you use Hotmail.
I am on it.
Or
I have a Gmail.
Yahoo
My
disks
Gmail
for your
is
internet.
Hotmail. Jamie, I don't think you understand. My Gmail account is at hotmail.com.
Oh my god.
It looks like your brain just broke. No, so
At
when you
AOL,
sign up, they let you type out the address you want, and I literally typed out at hotmail.com. So I have a Hotmail account that is Mutilus at Hotmail, and then I have a Gmail account that is Mutilus at hotmail.com.
Oh my god.
I hate that so much. There's something that I hate that. I hate that so much.
Something in my body is offended.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it's my appendix.
It's like when you hear the brown note and you just shit yourself. That's what you just did.
Yeah.
By the way, I just look at the Dompier's card, and at first, true story. I looked at his card, and it has his, his alias up there, which I cannot name. But underneath it says his actual name, and I was a little surprised. Like, wait a minute, why isn't it Wesley Snipes? That was the first thing.
So you're like honestly confused. Like, that's not his name.
That's not his name. Eric Brooks. Who the fuck is that? That's not Wesley Snipes. By the way,
it was Eric. I thought it was. I was gonna say it was Kevin or something. No, I guess it is Eric.
Eric Brooks.
I remember that scene in Blade 1 where he has the flashback to there's the fake mother and she calls him Eric.
Yeah, I am going. By the way, the names I'm going to refer to on the table is the Dompier and Wesley. Those are the two things I'm going to name him. I think on the table, so I can, because people are going to have to. I'm going to have to do something that people recognize. Because if I say I'm activating the Dompier, I don't think they're going to know what the fuck I'm talking about.
That's the best thing in the world that you just said that you were looking for Wesley Snipes on the card. That's so fucking awesome.
Okay, so there's two things that have been done recently that I was just immediately offended at and refused to watch. And the first one was Hellboy, the remake with the guy from Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, not Ron Perlman. I literally just closed the app on my phone.
It was terrible.
I think I was like, I didn't even watch it because I was like scrolling through Facebook videos and it was like, new trailer for Hellboy. I'm like, they're making another Hellboy? And then it showed up and it wasn't Ron Perlman. I just closed the app. I'm like, get out of here. I don't need this in my life. It's like I just moved on. I was like, are you kidding me? Why would you not just make a third one? It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Good
then
choice. That
the
was a
other
good
one
choice.
was the new Blade TV show / movie that they're doing. I'm like, I literally don't care if it's not Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
It's like you cannot destroy my childhood like that.
He's an older man now. Have you seen him recently?
He is.
He's an older guy.
He's only half-blooded vampire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you watch What We Do in the Shadows, the show, or just the movie? Did you not hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Why is everybody waving? Did my internet go out?
Because
I
you
don't know what you're doing. Doing this doesn't help me. What are you saying? Use your words.
We're trying to say you just disappeared. You totally froze.
Okay, so the internet cut out.
Yeah.
Okay, what I said was, do you watch What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, or did you just watch the movie?
I just watched the movie. I've seen pieces of the television show.
Okay.
But I've not seen the whole thing.
What if I told you Wesley Snipes has a cameo?
I already love the concept, but that is amazing. I can't.
Yeah.
Does he play himself or does he play a vampire?
He plays Blade.
Oh my god.
He literally plays Blade.
That's awesome.
They have to video Skype him in for a council meeting.
Oh my
it's like,
gosh.
is the half-blood here? And they look over and there's a laptop on a counter. And he's like, what the fuck you guys want? And he's just Wesley Snipes being Blade. And it was fucking magical.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he literally votes like yay or nay to kill these vampires for something they did. He's like, what they do? That's fucked up. like it just
Oh
was
my
so
God.
great. I was like, and it's just so perfect. Like he's Skyping in from England because he's avoiding taxes. It was so perfect.
Oh my god!
Like,
Of course
my
he
God.
did.
It was so great.
Oh, Wesley Snipes. Some motherfuckers always ice skate uphill.
Always bet on black.
Yeah,
Wesley Snipes is so much of my childhood.
he's amazing.
I love Wesley Snipes.
It's
Anyway.
it's one of the reasons why I want to play this character in the game is because I can quote as many things as I can. Every time I play against, I want to play against Medusa so I can say, your hair is ridiculous. My favorite. That's not Wesley Snipes, but it's still Blade 3, which in my opinion is both the best and the worst
That
Blade.
was Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. That was Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool before he could be Deadpool. He was basically
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah, he played Deadpool in Wolverine Origins, and then he played Deadpool in Blade Trinity,
Yeah.
and then he played Deadpool in Deadpool
Right.
and Deadpool 2.
Yeah. Oh man, I love everything
Yeah.
about his character.
Yeah, so you need to watch What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
I need to see the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet. All right. So that's future events. Parker, did you do a comic corner for this week?
Mm-mm.
All right. Can you also stop putting italics in the comic corner section? It's very annoying.
Okay, can do.
It changes my font, and I start typing in italics.
Oops.
One other quick point of business. I decided to pursue a new career path, actually. I found out I'm very good at cleaning mirrors, so I'm going to transition to that as a profession.
Oh.
It's something I could really see myself doing. Fucking got him!
You got me good. I actually
Parker was not ready.
I was just ready for like a really lame joke, like you knew somebody who cleans mirrors and they just died,
Yeah.
or you read something on the internet.
They
you know?
died, so I'm talking about it.
Yeah. But that was awesome.
Yeah. A-level jokes here, guys. 100% top notch.
Mhm.
I got Connor with my favorite dad joke of all time.
What's that?
We were at the store, and John told me a dad joke because he listens to the podcast, and he loves that we've incorporated dad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told me a dad joke, and I told him a dad joke, and then Connor was like told a really bad one. So I told him to shut up. And I said, hey, what do you call 4 bullfighters in quicksand? And he looked at me really confused. He didn't realize it was a joke. I was like, Quattro Cinco. And he literally died. It's like, I don't understand how to comprehend this. It was great. Quattro Cinco, boy.
That's
Get
just
it?
that's
Because see, there's
just,
4 of them.
I know,
and
they're
they're sinking.
sinking, and they put on
But
the end.
in Spanish,
Oh,
dad jokes
Jesus.
are the best when you explain them. All right, well, I guess that's about all we have to talk about today. Do you guys have anything else we should cover before we get out of here?
No, I'm good.
No, sir.
It's a brave new world. Let's go play in it
Ooh.
as of next week.
All right, well, this has been Brandon.
And Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD.
And Jeremy.
And this has been Quattro Cinco.
So what are we gonna call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just gonna put down infamous.
So now that everything is going and started and ready, I pulled up our podcast stats.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hi-ho.
All right. So, do you guys remember our stats last time we did this? It's been a few weeks.
No.
We were the 5th best podcast in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good.
What is that?
I am proud to say our number one demographic and our claim to fame that we are the number one Kansas City based, Always Sunny in Philadelphia inspired Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast in Singapore. Guys,
Yay!
still keeping strong. Nobody's gonna dethrone us.
What's that?
Mission complete.
That's the Flight of the Conchords. That's how they always started their shows. Yeah. We're the second best acoustic rock folk parody band in New Zealand.
Yeah.
The second best acoustic rock folk parody band.
God,
Like,
I love
if you
Flight
just
of the
keep adding
Conchords.
fucking qualifiers onto
descriptors.
it, you can be the best at anything.
Yeah.
Just no one can stop you.
Yeah. Or rather,
All right.
apparently you can be stopped because they were second best. But yeah, like
Well, right. Well, they just
Second
needed.
best.
Yeah.
They should just need to add not named the other band.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. So you guys don't remember at all what our audience size or our total play?
It was like
listens
75. Like our audience
It
size was
wasn't.
like 75 or something, right?
It was 43.
No, it wasn't. Our total audience
was.
size, whatever.
It was
No,
43. It was.
my mom. No, I'm pretty sure my mom listened to, and she might not have. Did that count?
All right. 44.
I made my mom listen twice.
I made my mouth. It's unique listeners.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay, so there's unique listeners, which is basically different devices that have downloaded the podcast
Mhm.
or different accounts. And then there's estimated audience size, which means it uses that information and then tracks repeat listeners. And then we have total unique listens all time.
Mhm.
So we've broken 4,000 unique listens since last week. So we're at 4,050 total listens to our podcast.
Hey,
how
yo.
much
It's pretty good.
money? How much money will I get?
Well, I have intentionally made this unmonetized, so very little.
Oh,
So little to none.
So
This whole
little
time.
that it's in fact qualifies as zero.
Yeah.
this entire time. Great.
Yeah. We are still deep in the blood red of the accounting because I bought stuff for this.
I'll see if I can get my job back.
Remember when I sent you that message, quit your day job?
See.
That was a joke. You're like, well, this is going to be awkward because I played a song on my way out.
I thought we were flush on that dick towel money.
Yeah. Like 2,500 flush.
That dick down money. Flush.
But anyway, we are up to an estimated audience size of 87 people. Thank you guys for listening. We
Boom,
appreciate
boom.
You.
everything you guys do.
Fuck yeah.
And then on the plus side, so before we released our last episode,
Mhm.
in the week of October 13th to October 19th, we had 98 total listens. And then last week, we jumped up to 154 listens.
Holy
Boom,
shit.
guys.
We
Fucking
did it.
crushing it.
We did it.
People don't even know how badass we are.
We landed on the moon.
And then I
We
guess
landed
whatever
on the moon.
happened, what happened on the week of October 20th was bad, and people didn't like it because we only had 63 listens. Maybe that's when Jeremy forgot to send me the audio, so it was like 19 days late getting posted. I can't remember.
Don't blame me. Not now. Not when we have all these listeners.
Not when everyone's saying
Not
it.
when we have all the listens.
Is it fair that every time we release an episode, I just call it an album? We have a new album release, and it's an album release party every week, and I spend my dick towel money on it. God
Oh,
damn,
boy.
we're like famous. Like it's hard to be humble at this point.
It's hard to be humble when you're this big of a deal. All right. Well, now the listeners definitely know how badass we are. We're like a
Finally.
really big deal. In
Jesus
our local
Christ!
Basically.
Finally,
network. As
fuck.
long as you're only considering people in the Discord channel with us, we're a very big deal.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ!
we're functionally huge.
I do have something I need to bring up later. Announcements. We have announcements.
Wait, are we gonna start? Wait, we haven't now.
No. This
Oh.
isn't announcements. I'm just saying I have something for announcements.
Okay, good.
Oh mercy.
I was nervous.
You're like, I missed it. What happened?
Yeah,
So
I'm an MD.
Yeah.
It's on the website.
yeah.
I started. So I put the Always Sunny in Kansas City Chief Kingdom thing in my playlist.
Yeah.
I love them. That was so
They're
good.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's great to have an actual football podcast that just talks about shit that I care about instead
Yeah,
of the world.
Which is Always Sunny and the Chiefs.
Yes.
It's like there's two important things in my life, and both of them are on this podcast.
By the way, they need to send us money too. We just
monetizing.
pimped them. Yeah. They can
Yeah.
pay us.
I'm entirely fine advertising for them. If you are a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs and also a huge fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, go check out It's Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom. They're
It's very
a
solid.
semi-inspiration for our podcast.
hmm
Because it turns out that everything's better when you just add Sunny to it.
That's true. Oh, by the way, honorable mention. It's Frank Reynolds' birthday. Was that the
What?
announcement? Did I break
I did
that?
not know that.
Yeah, it's his birthday today. He's 77.
Sean
Aw.
Connery's birthday. starts playing Scottish music.
And here's another fact about Always Sunny. 15th season, or it's like the longest running stupid ass show. Like
It's the longest running sitcom ever.
yeah, like ever. That's insane.
It's been for years.
That's
I'm
crazy.
glad you know that now, though. That's bonus.
Yeah, easily the longest running sitcom. I mean, they don't count The Simpsons because I don't know why, but yeah,
It's an animated show.
yeah.
And it's not the longest running animated show
No, it's
by
not.
a huge margin.
Not even close.
I think it's a German
Yes.
like children's show
Yep.
that's been going for like 46 years.
Yes,
It's fucking insane. They have like 19,000 episodes.
I looked one day. My students we were talking about One Piece. I was like, surely it's got to be one of the
Yeah.
longest shows ever. And so I looked up longest animated shows. One Piece is like 81st on the list. I was like, oh
Yeah.
Jesus.
But it's just like the torture Olympics for the everything past One Piece though, because they're
Right.
not even good.
No.
They're just like some guy hand drew his own illustrations and published it, so legally it counts.
Right.
Like it's so terrible you would never watch any of it. But yeah, I remember when we were in high school and everybody's like, "Oh God, Inuyasha is so long." It's like you look up the episode count, it's like 230.
Yeah.
You're like, One Piece is halfway done and it's at like 913 or some
Yeah.
shit. You're like, Jesus Christ.
One Piece is not the longest anime either. Even there's more.
No, there's multiples. But yeah, that's gonna be us one day.
Yep.
I'm psyched.
I was telling somebody we did something for our 50th, and it was basically because I think the week after the 50 was our 1 year anniversary because we never missed a week, but there was 1 week we didn't record an episode, but we had something else as our podcast,
hmm
and then we had episode 0 that was before Jeremy was here.
I don't think there was a week you missed recording. I think
I think
we
there was
thought
one
we were
week
gonna,
missed.
but we didn't. I don't think we missed a freaking week.
Oh, I think you're right. I think we planned to miss it and then found a way to do it
Yeah.
because we never released the draft episode, did we?
I don't think we
Mm-mm.
did. The one in the deep in the vault is going to become very.
Yeah.
It's going to be It's going to be like a reliquary.
So deep.
We'll bring
It's a
it
deep
out. It's like
burn.
this was an ancient artifact, a time capsule, in a time before we rolled 12-sided dice in
A
this game.
time before time.
I just want everyone to know that when we release the draft episode, which might be highly anticipated, it's going to be hot dog shit because it's just going to be 8 people screaming over each other in a Discord call in an auction style setting where they're all using like fucking tinfoil and pecans for fucking microphones. It's going to just sound like somebody took a bunch of pennies and soup cans, put them in a dryer, and hooked it up to a Hayabusa engine. It's just like, it's going to fucking melt your ears.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I mean, that's one thing I can't fix with Audacity. Like, I cannot make that listenable. I like to think I do a pretty good job with our audio editing.
I think you did great.
Mm-hmm. You do. Lots. I'm going to say this. Lots of podcasts, Marvel related, do not do such a great job, and it
I've heard
irritates
that.
the piss out of me.
Yeah. It's weird because it's like having like a really high refresh rate on your monitor. You don't really notice it until
it's not
you
there. Yeah.
have good, and you cannot go back. Like once you see like, okay, I have a nice monitor, and then you go back to like 30 frames a second, you're like, nope, throw this in the garbage. I'm going to Micro Center. Like you cannot deal with it. And so like audio quality is one of those things. Like you never really notice that you're listening to somebody riding a motorcycle until you're like, oh no, yeah, I can't listen to that anymore.
What's more common than anything is the one person talking very quiet, and the other person.
That's incredibly frustrating
Oh
for
my
me
God.
because
Mhm.
I know how to fix it, and the Always Sunny podcast, Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom, they have that issue sometimes. One of them is very quiet sometimes, and it's hard to deal with. And it's so easy to fix. I don't understand why they don't. They clearly just don't know what they're doing.
Non sequitur. Deadpool 2, still really great. I watched it on the plane.
Yeah,
God damn, that's such a
Very
good
good.
movie.
very
Like
good.
every time I watch that, it makes me want to get off the plane and like fight people and like just.
There's
be
people that say
badass.
it's terrible, and I don't understand because I'm like, it's so good.
The
though.
dialogue is just great and like
Yeah.
fucking. People must be trying to
Like
take it way
I
too
watched
serious.
it, and then like 3 days later, it's like, you know what I should watch? Deadpool 2, because that was fucking awesome.
Yes!
Like, people are raving about Shang-Chi. I'm watching Shang-Chi again, and it's fine, but like I don't really care. Deadpool 2 was awesome.
Every time I watch it too, I catch new things because it's so
Mhm.
quippy. Like everything is a one-liner and a zinger. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was cracking me up when he was riding around in in Professor X's chair, and then he
Mhm.
was like grabbing and cupping like Colossus's
Yeah.
butt, and just all the
Yeah.
little things are just they're so good. And the whole scene
Yeah,
where
it's
they
very
jump
good.
out of the airplane and they all die
Yeah.
in different ways.
There's a wind advisory.
That
There was
That
no way
scene
to
is
That
know.
was
best.
so funny.
that scene is one of the. Also, whenever I saw Shatterstar's pose, whenever he's dropping down, and he's got that.
Yep.
He's got that straight
Like
out of
crane
X-Force
kick,
issue
yeah.
2 pose. I'm just
Uh-huh.
like, oh my god, whoever designed this said he has to look like a total fucking tool like this as he goes
At
down.
all times. No matter what, he's a total tool.
And then, oh man, and then he just immediately blows into that helicopter blade and blue blood flies everywhere. Oh,
It's
They're
green.
like that guy's
is it green? I thought it was blue.
It's green. We do this
Okay.
every time.
Okay. I need to see it more often, obviously.
I'm pulling up YouTube as we speak because I have to know now.
He calls it like that guy with the Winter Soldier arm. Like I missed that the first time.
Yeah.
Just tons and tons and tons of just inside jokes and just silliness.
I have a lot of the deaths here, but I can't find the Shatterstar one. It is really quick though, so maybe I'm just missing. Oh, here we go. He can't even see because his own stupid hair is blowing in his.
Oh yeah, it
It
goes
is
right in it.
green.
Yeah.
It is green. It looks blue at first because of the sky, but it's green. Vanisher. Maybe the wind can't blow what it can't see. Immediately dies.
Maybe the wind
Shit.
blows- See.
I'll never let you go, Honey Bear.
I can't believe they got Brad Pitt for Vanisher. It's so great.
It's
I
the
don't
best.
know if they just used his likeness and just said fuck it, or if he's actually did the clip.
No, he did. That's 100%
He
he
did?
did.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it looks like young Brad Pitt. It doesn't even look. It looks like Fight Club Brad Pitt almost.
No, it's him.
But he's being electrocuted, so you know that really takes away the crow's feet.
So yeah, man, it's so good. Every time I've watched it, just so good.
All right. So did anything cool happen for you guys over the last week?
No.
Very
I got
very
better.
uncool things happened. In fact,
I got better. I opened up that damn Dormammu box. I said, "Damn, that's a big ass."
and
box.
you were like, "That's a lot of plastic."
"Yeah."
You don't have 3 shoulder pads in your box, do you?
Movie, I'm so upset.
Wait,
Mine's
what?
missing a shoulder pad.
Oh, really?
hmm So it's gonna be like 19 months for me to get a.
Oh
fucking
shit! I just
shoulder pad.
realized I really, really wanted to play Dormammu, and I never actually put them together. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I rectified that by assembling it while we were waiting for you while you were an hour and a half late.
Jesus. Not that part.
We thought
the
you were
part
being
that I-
incepted.
Not
again.
that part. Other stuff.
Yeah. How am I going to put this thing together?
You're gonna have to not sleep and no sleep Olympics with me tomorrow.
Let's save for the podcast. I want to save for the podcast.
Okay. So I have some fun news. I've started playing the My Hero Academia Ultimate Fighting System card game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you remember, but I was yelling at Dave to build me an All Might deck.
Yeah.
And his defense was All Might is complete trash and unplayable. And I was like, you're wrong. He's going to be broken as fuck. And he's like, you don't even play the game. There's no way you can know that. And I said, oh yeah, I'll show you. And so one of the other guys came up and like, sure, we'll just throw the deck together. We put it together, and it's fucking crazy. Like, I was like, I told you, Dave. Rubbed it right in his face.
Don't.
He's like, it's now he's like, I guess I'm going to build All Might. He's like, don't steal my idea.
That's the thing about Dave. Down. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Dave is that's the thing about I've played games with Dave a long time, and that is his.
Dave
that
wants
is his
to play
bonus.
what's like cool and good, but he
Yeah.
gets the cool and good ideas from other people.
No, I would say that actually that it's just he's like, this looks good, and it must be the only thing that's good. He goes, Dave, I'm pretty sure there are other things in this game. The people who designed this game weren't planning on making exactly one thing. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's just
one
this.
thing.
Pretty
It
sure
was
it's just this
whatever
one.
Dave picked first.
Yeah, pretty sure it's just this thing I picked first. And then you're like, Dave, let me see if I can find this. Explore this corner of the game. Wow, that corner looks really cool. I'll go do that too. I bet that's what they actually meant to do. You're like, no, Dave, I think you could play lots of ways. You could play any way you want, really. He's like,
Dave,
nope.
Dave, in fact, you could do more than the first thing you saw. You're like, no, I can only see the best. It's a filter I have on my vision. Only the best.
Oh no, he would never say what he did was the best. Just that he's pretty sure this is the way to do it. Like, this is it. This is the way. He's like,
Tyler agreed with him though. Him and Tyler were like, no, it's a waste of cards. Like,
Oh.
don't even bother.
Yeah.
So far, I'm proving them wrong. I ordered all the singles for it because
Nice.
the game's unbuyable right now.
Was it
I'm
terribly
very
expensive to buy just the singles?
Not really. So I basically bought an entire deck worth of singles. It was like $100. But the problem is the deck includes one of the rarest cards in the game, and so like outside of that card, it's like $30.
Oh, that's
you
not
need
bad.
a playset of that one.
That's not that bad.
Yeah,
But
It's not bad.
so you can get the cards right now on different card game buyers, but you can't buy the packs.
yeah. Like I went to TCG Player, and there's like 40 of the card I need available on the internet. All of the internet, there's only like 40 available, which is why they're expensive, and they're only like $18 each. But you need 4 of them, so that's a big chunk of it, and then you have to pay shipping. But yeah, so I should be getting him this week, and I'm going to play again next Tuesday. And then I pulled out all my old cards. I'm tinkering with old decks. That's what I did most of today. UFS is the best card game. It's so good. So I told... Who was it I told? I told Dave I was going to get you into playing UFS. And he said, that's dumb. Parker will never do that. And I said, why? He responded with, Parker doesn't play card games. And I literally just laughed in his face. I was like, Parker, the guy who tried to play L5R, the card game, for 10 years after it was dead. I was like, that's definitely not true. And he's like, well, I guess that's a good point. He's like, yeah, he also played Netrunner and Destiny and Keyforge. He's like, oh, shit. It's like, you don't know Parker very well.
It is true. As far as when I've known him, the only games I've played with him almost exclusively have been miniatures games. But it's just because when he was excited about a card game, I was usually playing miniatures games and vice versa. But
yeah.
But I did like UFS when I played with you. It was just the pool was really shallow. It was just like me and you looking at the stuff we built, and that was fun.
Right. But now we have like 6 people coming up every Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds fun. There is something I really, really like about card games that scratches an itch that miniatures games don't, which is
Because
fast and fun.
like 50% of the game is coming up with new ideas.
Yeah.
And that's like really fun. Tinkering
Right.
is really fun. And deck building games give you lots of tinkering time
Mm-hmm.
and very little non-gaming time. Like
Yeah.
if you're either building a list or playing, those are the only 2 states of a card game.
Right.
As where a miniatures game, you have to sometimes build stuff, paint stuff, like work on like other aspects of the game, like transportation, logistics.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of other stuff you have to do, but I think miniature games are definitely the most rewarding game. Anyone who gets into miniatures games and sticks with it for more than 6 months is basically a lifer. Like, you're always going to play miniatures games because you've gotten there and it's not a barrier of entry too far, and you're in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Barring, life-altering events like having Spawn.
Yeah.
Jeremy knows what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
He looks very afraid, though.
They're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Cool. Did you guys decide what we're going to talk about today?
I like
No.
your
Or
idea.
as soon as I left, you guys were like, "Fuck it, let's talk about something else."
We did. We talked about Eternals.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't played in a while, so like whatever. I've been busy. It's up to whatever y'all wants to talk about. I don't care.
all right. So we're gonna pencil in new meta stuff? Question mark. And future events. Alrighty.
Ooh, and then we need to call out all those people that said they were going to come play in the events up here by name.
Okay. I can do some quick hacking and get their socials if you want to just read their socials on
That's
air.
fine. We'll just read
We'll
like
give out one character every week until they show up.
yeah. They better get here quick because I'll give out an extra one because I'll get mad.
Mm-hmm.
And also
You guys
too,
remember? Was it the Dave Green show? I can't remember that guy's name. The guy who was like a troll announcer on like TMZ. I think it was TMZ. It was MTV or TMZ or something. It was the guy who was the guy in Freddy Got Fingered. I can't remember.
Tom
his
Green.
name. Tom Green.
Yeah.
The Tom Green show where he basically just fucked with people. It was like
Yeah.
it was like a skit show, but he just like annoyed people as
Yeah.
his skits.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had this one where he kept trying to get this guy to come on his show, and he kept refusing. And so they got a hold of his personal cell phone number, and they're like, every week and they put this big thing up in front of the stage, and they're like, every week we're gonna turn one of these over, and it reveals one of the characters of his phone number until he comes on the show.
oh god,
And he's like, you're gonna give out my personal phone number, but I have to change my number and tell everybody. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. They're like, I'm not coming on your show. That's stupid. And so after about 3 weeks, they'd given out the area code, and then they revealed that on the back side of this thing, because it's up against a window, all the numbers had been available on the other side of the window, which was Times Square, because they filmed in New York. So everybody had this celebrity's phone number, and he's like, I fucking hate you. Like, you're the worst person
oh my
ever.
god.
I thought that was funny. So that's where I got that idea. All right. I guess we should probably start recording now.
I think we're recording.
Oh, wait. Wait. I gotta pull up a comment of the day.
Got it.
Got it. One.
Nailed it.
Didn't even need two.
I think I've decided that the MD at the end of the name stands for Medical Dompier. I think that's what we're going to do.
On beer.
How do you spell Cinco?
Cinco.
C-I-N-C-O?
Yeah,
Cinco.
Cinco. Yeah, Cinco.
I was like, God, how would I even look this up? I was like, wait, Cinco de Mayo. That's all I could think of.
That is the 5th of May. So what do you put in a Midnight Suns
Oh,
list?
Parker walked off camera, and I was like, where'd he go? And
No,
then he
I'm right
started talking. I was like, he's in my house!
No,
I feel like this has been like a fucking Mission Impossible skit, where it's like, this has been a deep fake I've been looking at, so he could infiltrate my lair.
Yep. Nope. This whole time, I actually these are all fake walls.
Yeah.
They all just I hit a button and little
It's just
explosions.
you and Simon Pegg behind a fucking green screen.
Yeah. That was I don't know how I feel about all the Mission Impossible movies, but that scene with the green screen is one of my favorites. I really like that scene. I feel like they found ways to make that like concept of we need to sneak into this place and make it really fucking cool. Like they found ways to make that cool like
It was
8 times, and
Mission
it impressed
Impossible
me.
was the heist movie before heist movies.
Yeah. Didn't wait. Was
Because
Mission
there's like
Impossible
9
for-
reveals, even though none of them are who has the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You son
Also,
of a
It just
bitch.
was literally I take
to-
my mask
to
off.
the
like that was
to
the
this
movie.
day, I probably need to rewatch the movie, but to this day, I will never forget the moment when he, Ethan Hunt, by Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt, like reveals himself to John Voight's character, who I don't remember what his name is, and he says, the Bible in the drawer, and he goes, they stamped it, didn't they? Goddamn Gideons. And I remember going, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why? Like, I think it was like it's stamped as like Chicago or like the name of the city or something was the Bible. But to this day, I don't know what the fucking significance of that was and why John Voight's character was so pissed off at Gideons. I know Gideons are the ones who stamped it, but why? I don't get how that was the big reveal. Talking about how convoluted that movie was. how overly convoluted that movie
Yeah,
is.
like it's been so long since I've seen it. I don't even fucking remember hardly shit about it.
All I remember is the scene where they infiltrate the CIA is priceless, and the scene where he's, on the bullet train, and the, jumping onto the windshield of the helicopter. Red light, green light. Why did he say that? I don't know. Smashes the gum on the windshield and explodes. Flies forward and hits the wall with that trademark Tom Cruise grunt face thing.
I feel like the Mission Impossible series is basically like Saw at this point. Like the first one was meant to be really serious and deep, and then after that they're like, fuck it, and they just like turned every knob to 11, and they're like, what happens when you do this? And they forgot to not press record, and then they just released it as a movie.
Also, Tom Cruise is like the perfect personality to make that keep going, right? Because that's basically who he is in human form. He's basically Mission Impossible.
50 years, yeah.
In human form.
It's like Tom Cruise stopped aging in 1984.
Well, you also just see no, he didn't stop aging. He just kept powering through the concept of cell degradation. Just I'm just going to keep going. You saw how he broke his leg on that scene, right? The scene they used
broke his foot.
Yeah. Broke his right above his foot. Yeah. They used that in the movie. I love that. I was like, that was the best take. The one where he shattered his ankle bone. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we want.
That's not even like the top 3 best takes ever.
Yeah.
There's I know the top 2. The first one is Vigo breaking his foot when he kicked the helmet.
Yeah.
That's in the movie.
Because he's actually ticked his shit. Yeah.
Because he's screaming because he literally shattered his foot.
Yeah.
This was very believable that he was in a lot of pain. And then the second one is Andy Dwyer knocking on Anne's house. And he's naked, and he was literally naked, and then Amy Poehler did not realize he was going to be naked, and so she actually reacted to seeing his penis.
Yeah.
That was a great take.
Have you guys ever seen Orcs with Normal Voices?
Oh my god, yes.
No.
You have? Oh,
that is so funny.
Brandon, you really need to see Orcs with Normal Voices. So what they did was some guy just takes the scenes in which orcs talk in the extended Lord of the Rings. So there's a lot of extra scenes where the orcs have dialogue that is cut.
I went immediately to 40K. I thought this was going to be very different. Okay, I'm with you.
Okay,
Lord of the Rings, got it.
Yeah, so they take Lord of the Rings and they take the extended cut. There's actually a lot of orc dialogue in the extended cut. And so they take it and he just dubs his own mouth with exactly the right dialogue and the right timing on top. So one of them goes like, "Can we eat them? They smell like man flesh." It's just like a regular guy instead of the weird like growly spitty talk. And it's
oh my god,
it makes me pee my pants. I'm gonna find the.
It is really funny. And then when they all yell at once, they're like,
Yeah, wow. Oh, I like man flesh. Like when they're all talking at the same time. It's like, did somebody say man flesh? We're way in the back. Was it man flesh?
I found it on YouTube.
Okay.
They're really funny.
Oh, okay. I found the one that's all 7 minutes of all the ones he did together. They're strung together. They're good. I'm gonna put it.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, is this the 7.5 minute one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll watch it. I gotta open on my YouTube.
Okay. It's
All right, guys. So I'm thinking we should call it now because we want to get to bed and be fresh for tomorrow.
Yep.
Because we don't want to let this success go to our heads. We need to keep working on it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
every
every
the
day.
best we can be
What are you
for the
talking about?
audience.
Uh-huh.
I agree. It's all about the audience. And also
So Parker,
the shrimp
immediately
vessel.
after we hang up, I'm going to call Jeremy and see if he wants to go to the casino.
I do have that shrimping vessel money.
Oh, are you flush with that dick towel money?
Mm-hmm. I've made some
There is
good
no
choices.
amount of dick towel jokes that are not funny to me. Like
Oh
that
my
show
God.
has reinvigorated dick towels. Like,
Hold on. Reinvigorated dick towels?
yeah,
At
well, I
what
mean they
point
never
were you-
really went down.
I was gonna
but
say,
it
at what point were
inflated
you
it
like,
to
you know
such
what
a
jokes
large...
old dick towel jokes?
Yeah, it's like a mountain compared to a molehill nowadays. Like
That
it just grown it to such epic proportions.
kitten mittens. Are you tired?
Yeah.
Are you tired of your loud cat?
Do your cats make too much noise all the time? Get kitten mittens. You'll be smitten.
It's good.
Fucking Christ. And then he sells it. He makes a lot of money on a contract, But because they were blackmailing a lawyer into doing their legal paperwork, he literally just had them sign over power of attorney to him. And so he owned their patent.
For kitten names.
Kitten man.
They actually would, like, there's so many times they would have made money and, like, their schemes would have worked if they just weren't the worst people ever.
Yep. That's the moral of the
So
story.
great.
Be-
Don't be literally the worst human being.
there was that episode about it, right, where Frank goes to hang out with the other crew that resembles and he just tells them what to do, and their lives just turned to shit. He's like, all your advice was horrible. Like, none of it worked at all. He goes, no, normally you guys just come up with some plucky way to figure it out, right? And they go, no. Like, I lost my
We're
job.
going to jail.
We're all going to jail. We committed like several crimes with our business. At least we're committing crimes. You know, what are we going to do? He goes, I don't know what you guys are going to do. I'm going to go back to Patty's Pub. Like, just like, turns out, goes,
later,
where things make sense. He just leaves.
Yeah. And it's like every episode, like the moral of the story is like they never realized that they weren't, like, they're so shitty they find a way out of things by like throwing other people under the bus.
Right. They never
realize that,
right.
that like, the only reason they get away with shit is because they're so terrible.
No comeuppance.
But they also never succeed because they're so terrible.
Right. But no comeuppance. No moment of learning or understanding. No growth.
There's the episode where they accidentally kidnap 2 people.
Yeah.
Oh man. The show is so amazing. All right.
Okay, I have a question.
Hmm?
This is probably up on the podcast unless Jeremy's really done for.
Continue.
Is there any reason in particular to take something with Midnight Suns other than maybe a larger base? Is a larger base even a reason to take something with the Midnight Suns? Like, do you just take any model you want?
So.
Just take Midnight Suns and models you like? Like,
I mean, they should synergize with your list. I wouldn't be taking like Black Dwarf just because you're playing Midnight Suns.
Precisely, like I'm not, but I don't know what this list does yet. I guess maybe I just have to play the Midnight Suns and see if they don't do something.
Yeah, I haven't read any of their shit really. I wasn't super interested in them.
The only thing they all can attack. They basically have the tactics card, the Wakanda card. They have the ability to attack. So you're incentivized to play them actually. The only one I think you don't play is probably Iron Fist, because I think he's just probably a trap. If Iron Fist got to attack a second time, would that be good enough?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, he also isn't going to attack a second time.
No, I mean, like, with the Wakanda Forever, whatever they call it, it's not called
But
Wakanda
that's the
Forever.
problem. Like, it's not about the quantity, it's the quality. And you
Right.
can't do the Iron Fist twice, so it doesn't matter.
So I think you just play all the other
make
Midnight
one
Suns,
attack?
and none of them are bad.
Wait.
Like, it's Ghost
No,
Rider,
what is
Doctor
it?
Strange, Wong,
Parker?
Black Cat, Moon Knight, Blade. Ah, crap. There's the merit.
Can you guys
But,
hear me? Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry, my phone's exploding, and apparently it keeps interrupting my internet. I don't know, that's weird.
So the
Anyway, but what does it say? It just says makes an attack? There's no restriction?
yeah, it's exactly Wakanda Forever.
Okay, so that should trigger stuff like rapid fire, so people like Punisher could be interesting.
Okay.
Punisher's not a Midnight Sun, though.
No,
Is it only Midnight Sun characters?
it's only Midnight Suns. It's exactly like
never
Wakanda
mind.
Forever.
That's terrible.
So yeah, it's exactly.
All their characters are awful.
It's. I think it'd be good on Doctor Strange. It'd be probably good on Moon Knight and Ghost Rider. It'd be okay on the Dhampir. I think it's okay on the Dhampir. But the trick is, I really don't know what else goes in this list. I think Carnage might go with them because he actually could use the Bump of the Night, their ability to pay 1 to move 1 because he's this huge base and his long range. I could actually give him a lot of control over the board. Maybe he's really the only one I see interacting with his ability really well in the game. Except kind of maybe MODOK. Would MODOK like to be able to place within 1? Would that be something he would pay one power for?
Oh, he places really
probably,
far.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of
characters. Any characters that need no mobility that are already good.
Yeah, but I mean, there's one problem, which is a lot of the Midnight Suns are expensive, and you want to play them. Like Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider are excellent.
Playing a lot of expensive characters is not directly bad if they're worth their points. The
Yeah.
problem you get into is when you're overreaching for stuff and there's no synergy.
Right.
Like, so as long as the models work well together, it doesn't matter how much they cost.
Okay. So I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I could just play both stones for strange and be able to pick one if I really wanted to do that. But do I want 2 2-point characters or 3 3-point characters? Maybe an extra 4-point character that's not Carnage.
You're playing Carnage in there?
The only thought with Carnage was I think he takes advantage of the Bump in the Night very well, but maybe I'm wrong.
What's Bump in the Night?
It's their affiliation ability. At any time,
Place?
yeah, it's a place within 1 of its current position. His really large base size and his long reach means he actually does cover a lot of the field with it.
But he already has long reach.
Kind of, but he doesn't have a movement ability. You have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have movement, but I think because he has such a large footprint already, I don't know that he really. If you're only playing him because he moves, I don't think that's a good enough reason.
Well, no, it's because he has a large base and a long reach, and he doesn't have a movement ability built in. That was the idea.
But regardless of the movement ability, would you want Carnage regardless? Assuming you didn't have that affiliation bonus, is Carnage in your list? I don't think so. Because like the thing is, he's not slow. He's actually one of the faster models in the game. He just doesn't have mobility.
Right.
But because his attack range is so large, I don't think you care.
Okay.
You also have access to Carnage rules, so if you're just saying I'm going to fix Carnage, he doesn't need being fixed.
Okay.
But if you want Carnage for Carnage's sake, then yeah, I think it's fine. Like every list in the game gets better when you put MODOK in it. And then MODOK that can place range 1 is even better than regular MODOK, so that's a fair justification.
Sure.
But there's probably characters better than Carnage for 4 points.
Would like Ultron maybe even?
I mean, not current Ultron, maybe new Ultron.
Right.
Black Panther doesn't need it, but is good. Black Dwarf would not be terrible, honestly. I don't know if he'd be as good as Carnage, because Black Dwarf is good. Like, there's no question that Black Dwarf's stat line is worth 4 points. The problem he usually runs into is the mobility issue. Like, he runs into serious mobility problems.
Yeah.
But now that everything's getting changed to can't push size 4, he might get even better. Captain Marvel's probably not terrible.
What about
the new
what about Omega
version,
Red? What about Omega Red?
Let me see.
He would probably like to move for free.
Yeah, that's definitely good. I don't know if he's good enough though. He's weird. I haven't seen him work yet. Every time I see him on the table, he just dies or does nothing.
Right.
And so that's not a good sign, but it might be fine. Kingpin might actually be good.
Really?
Yeah, I would say, because Kingpin is kind of down the road of Carnage in a more defensive route, but they're both just like bricks of numbers.
Ooh, here's an interesting idea.
But he gets the place and he has the throw.
Here's an interesting idea. What about Ronin? Would Ronin be crazy? Remember we played a Guardians list before where we had Judgment and we had Ronin and Ghost Rider, and that was kind of mean as hell. It was hard to deal with that. And Ronin would love a place.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I really liked Ronin when I played him once. Let's try this.
I really liked Ronin when I played him once.
I did not say I knew him.
Truer words never spoken.
I didn't say I knew him. I said I met him once. Gladiator.
What about Mr. Sinister, too?
Mr. Sinister is an okay idea. I like that idea.
He has a range 3 attack, but he's got the spray, or the beam, so you can line up the beam really well, and you can also place away from people once you've attacked them.
Right.
And he's just, a solid 4-pointer.
For that point, I actually wondered if Vision actually wouldn't be bad, because Vision doesn't like to move. He actually likes to get a lot of power and uses he could use his action to get extra power and then just use one of those to place.
Yeah, but the place one is not close to the move medium.
Right.
So it's more of just small adjustments. So he's still gonna have to move a lot.
Yeah.
But I see where you're going. I was thinking Sabretooth maybe, because he'll sometimes get pushed off of a point or slightly out of melee range, and then you can just place back an attack because he only has range 2s. I think Sabretooth could be okay.
I thought actually She-Hulk also might be strong, but I don't know if you can play that many 6-pointers.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Because you're playing Old Strange, right?
Yeah, Old Strange is a Midnight Sun.
So you have the Time Stone, right?
Yeah.
Remember, that has changed. That will be changed.
It will be changed, but it's not changed.
Okay.
So what does that put you at then?
If I do the
That
all,
puts
if
you
I
at
do okay,
12 points.
if I do all the Midnight Suns, wait, hold on. What are you doing? What did you just do in your mind?
That's 16 points for Strange, Ghost Rider, and Blade.
Yeah.
That's a bit steep.
I don't know when you actually play Ghost Rider or when you play. I don't know when you play actually these models. I'm just the Midnight Suns because you do have Black Cat and Moon Knight and Wong, so you do have some cheap Midnight Suns, and all of them are strong. Like you
I
don't
was
have
just
a weak
thinking,
one.
at 19 points, you're doing Moon Knight, right?
At 19 points,
Yeah, at 19 points, you're doing Strange, Ghost Rider, Blade, and Moon Knight, right?
6, 11 plus 7. That's 18, right? 11 plus 7 is 18. Am I missing something? Oh, Time Stone is 2 points, right? Is that what
Yes,
I'm missing?
it's
Okay,
2. Yeah.
Time Stone is 2
It's
points.
going down to 1.
Yeah.
I think that's a fine 19-point list. Ghost Rider and Strange are heavy hitters. Like, those models are going to dramatically affect the game. And then Moon Knight and Blade seem very fine for their individual point costs. Like, I think you're okay. You'll be outnumbered in almost every game, but Strange with the Time Stone is not afraid of being outnumbered.
Do you think, is there ever a time where you like switch and do like Wong, Ghost Rider, Black Cat, Moon Knight, Dhampir? Is that like
I don't think Wong is good outside of Defenders at this point,
why?
unless you really need power. Well, why are you taking him? Because if he's just standing on a point, that's fine, but you could take somebody that does stuff on a point. Like, there's just too many good 2-point characters nowadays.
Why Defenders? What does he do in Defenders that's specifically
He
strong?
can play, like, portals and stuff for you,
Oh.
beyond just being a point leveler. Like, Okoye would probably be better.
So does Wong
It-
not even go in here? Like he doesn't really add anything?
If you want, he can, but he doesn't really add much to the list. If,
Yeah.
like, for example, you know that you're having issues with, like, Strange getting stunned, then you can play Wong to remove stun, and then you're using it for something. But if he's just going to stand there and go, look, Wong has 5 power, and then he died, like, that's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'd be much better off playing a character that contributes. And I think Toad and Okoye are the go-tos.
Here's
depending
an idea, actually. Speaking of Wong, since Wong is in the list, we could do someone like... Oh, no, that doesn't even work with that. Never mind. I was thinking Carol. You could play Marvel because he could feed
Danvers.
her power. But it doesn't...
I think Danvers is a legitimate option once the changes come out and
Right.
her cost goes down.
Yes.
I think that's a fair choice.
Yeah, I think right now it's still unplayable.
I think you can play Ronin because at 20 points you could do Ronin, Ghost Rider, Blade, Strange, Time Stone. I think that's fine at 20. But you wouldn't have the Power Stone, so you'd have to make the decision. But I think he's okay without the Power Stone.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't get that many Creed Judgments. Wait, is it called Creed Judgment? What the fuck is it called?
Just called Judgment. But Creed Justice is his awesome attack.
Creed Justice, that's the one I meant.
Yeah, you get automatic stun and stagger and explosive. Damn, that thing
You
is...
just don't get as many of those.
Yeah. Man, every time he does that, you feel so good. It's like,
Mhm.
boom! Get fucked. Boom! Get fucked.
Yeah, Ronin and Ghost Rider are always really annoying. But what I would think you should probably look at is doing a dual Defenders list. Because if you're already putting Strange in there, you only need one Tactics card and you're running both lists.
Yeah.
Especially if you have Wong in there, because Ghost Rider and Strange are in both affiliations.
Mhm.
So your core 2 guys are in both. And then Wong can go either way as well, I believe.
Wong goes either way,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so you've got 3 characters. You're affiliated with both lists depending on if you take
Moon
Blade
Knight.
or not.
Moon Knight's also a defender.
Right. So like you have so much carryover you would never even have to check for affiliation.
Right.
It's just which leader do you take, and you're probably taking Strange in almost every list you play over 18 points. So I think you should look at it because some games portals will be better than the leadership for that Blade.
Blade.
has. Oh,
Blade
he
on-
said it.
Oh, damn it. I shouldn't have completed your thought. Trying to be nice.
Got it. I know. That's what
Um,
you get.
That's what I get for helping
632.
others.
But yeah, so I think you should look at dual affiliation. Man, I'm hungry. I should totally go to like McDonald's
Okay,
because it's the only restaurant in my neighborhood open.
Okay, well here's the deal. It's really interesting you said that. Like over 18 points, I always play Doctor Strange. Is that really true? Like, do I really always just play Doctor Strange? That
I
seems-
would. You can do whatever you want. You're an adult, but
Right.
that's what I would do because Doctor Strange is super fun.
But if I really want to play Doctor Strange, then why am I even playing the Dhampir? Like the
I think Strange in Midnight Suns is fine. I just think that some games you might want to go into Defenders because Pentagrams is crazy and sometimes worth the affiliation change.
When are you really excited about Pentagram? I guess.
Like, imagine if you picked Wakandan Herbs
Mhm.
and you're playing Ghost Rider with portals on Wakandan Herbs and just do the math. It's like,
Right.
you could win the game on turn 3 with Wakandan Herbs.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you put Highway to Hell on the list and they get your herbs, you can yank that fucker all the way back across the map. And you're like, what are you doing? Like Ghost Rider just breaks Wakandan Herbs.
That's funny.
Not to mention Portals. Portals fucking breaks Wakandan Herbs too.
But they can use the portal too, right? So it's not like they're going to have a hard time
It's
tracking it down.
deceptive because just because the portals exist does not mean they're positioned well for you to use them. Because you're always going to be within range 1 of the portal before you move because you're smart placing them. You can also place them in ways to where they're spending move actions that they wouldn't really want to spend. It's not completely unuseful for them, but it's not nearly as good as it sounds because you're putting the portal behind where you're placing to and in front of where you're placing from. And so it's very weird, especially when you have a Ghost Rider in your way when you come through the portal. Like, you come through the portal and Ghost Rider's standing where you want to stand and on top of the objective. And so you have to move to the portal, go through the portal, and then move to the objective. Then you pick up the objective, move once, place, you're still not back at the other portal. Like, it's not as efficient as it sounds because you're placing the tokens. But yeah, if you were to measure it out, like, you put the one token down, it's about an inch across. It's a little bit more. And then you are placing basically a 3-inch base within range 1 of that. Like, there's like an 8-inch bubble of where he could be standing on either side of the portal. Not to mention, you don't even really need to do the portal that close to their side of the board because he has the fucking Highway to Hell thing, or Hell on Wheels, where he can just teleport. Not teleport, but move long. What does it say? Is it just move long? Or does it say... It can't be an advance, right? Yeah, advance this character long. So it's not a move action. So he could pick up the objective, move medium in a large base, and then spend power to move long on a large base, and then use a portal as well. Like, you could easily cross the entire fucking board. You probably don't even need portals to do it, honestly.
Yes, that's power to do all that stuff, right?
You just need power, right? So
Yeah.
Ghost Rider would only need 2 power. Oh, wait, is it 3 or is it 2?
His Hell on Wheels is 3.
It's 3, okay. So if you had 5 power, you could move medium, pick up the thing, spend 3, total of 4, move long, spend a 5th, walk through the portal to the other side of the board. Like, they would never have a chance to even really interact with you, and you would have their on the other side of the board.
I actually don't know exactly how the portal works, so I'm a little confused by your explanation, but I can see it tomorrow. You could show me what it looks like.
I'll show you in person. But so the way the herbs mission works is
I know herbs really well. I just don't know the
there's 2
portal.
very far point just for everybody else. There's 2 very far away
yeah.
points that are basically the secure objectives, and then slightly more in on a diagonal line are the 2 extract objectives. Your goal is to pick up the further away extract and bring it to the closer secure. And when you do that, at the end of the turn, you score 4 points every turn. So the portal says, place one of the portals within range 1 of Strange, place the other portal within range 5 of Strange, or Wong, whoever's playing the card. And then at any time during a character's activation, they can spend 1 power to place within range 1 of another portal. And so if you got Ghost Rider to have 5 power, which is not really that hard, because he's going to have 2 automatically on turn 2, and he's got Wicked Judgment to get even more power. Sorry, Spirit of Vengeance to get even more power.
Mm-hmm.
And he might take damage or attack people. So you could Hell on Wheels, move long, pick up the thing, move medium, and then place through the portal, and you would be, turn 2, you would have secured the point already. It seems very fun. Speaking of, maybe I'll do that in my Dormammu list. Maybe I'll play Wakandan Herbs. What could go wrong?
The one thing I was wondering is, if you want to do a Defender's switch, do Ronan and MODOK become something else?
Oh.
Do they become like?
I forgot you were playing MODOK.
Because with the Dhampir, it is good with the Dhampir, like straight up.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you need to. Who was the other person? It was
so the last
MODOK
3 slots.
Who?
The last 3 slots right now are MODOK, Ronan, and Power Stone.
Why Power Stone though? I don't think you'll ever get to play it. At least not if you're playing Strange anyway.
I don't know if I'll play Strange every time. I just might not want to.
That's fair. 2 stones is a bit restrictive, obviously.
Yeah. So MODOK, Ronan, Power Stone could become something else.
So what would you? Is there any time you would ever take Ronan and the Power Stone over MODOK?
Oh, that's a good point.
Not before the update, right? Also,
Yeah.
remember, as soon as the update happens, you get 2 more character slots, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, the only reason why I'd want to do it is if I just really want to. I think you're exactly right. I think you got nailed on the head. If I'm playing MODOK, I don't know when I'm playing Ronan with a stone. You're right. It would just be so I could leave the stone off because I could just play a 4-point Ronan and do something like Luke Cage probably, because he's a strong defender, or just ditch MODOK if I really want to just play Ronan the Accuser. If I just really want to do Ronan.
Yeah, I think that's basically your choice. I think Jeremy wants to get out of here though, so
yeah, let's
go
do
ahead
that.
and get out of here. Thanks for sticking around, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.